What's going on, fellow A-plussers? It's your boy Adam Perez. We've got a brand new episode of A-Plus Hero Report live for you guys today, this beautiful Sunday morning or afternoon, wherever you're certainly watching us from. We got 6 incredible topics for you guys today as we're going to dive into the Spider-Man brand new day trailer, along with some brand new rumors that are certainly circulating. We even have lanterns on the docket for you guys today as Damon Lindelof is apologizing to Green Lantern fans. We also got some more insight in regards to the Buffy the Vampire Slayer revival not moving forward. It's juicy behind the scenes, y'all, and a lot more. So sit back, relax, enjoy the show, and we'll see you guys on the other side. Good afternoon, good morning, one and all, wherever you're certainly watching us from here today. It is I, your host, Adam Perez, joined none other than by my co-host, Stuart Branscombe, back once again for another episode of A-Plus Hero Report. What's going on, Stu?
Yeah, not much. Just another, relatively chill week.
I feel you, man. I've been getting a little hype, though, this week because as a big sports aficionado, we currently have March Madness going on. I used to watch college basketball religiously, and I eventually fell off maybe gotta be like 10 years ago, but I always watch March Madness. And every year after March Madness ends, I keep telling myself next year I'm gonna watch more college basketball. And I never do. I never do. So it's usually like I find myself doing like a time crunch of studying for like 2 days before my March Madness. I gotta fill out my March Madness bracket. But I'm a big March Madness fan. I if there's any college sport that I love, it's college basketball for sure. So I'm kind of hyped this week, man.
Have you been putting any money in on any teams?
No money, but we do have like an office pool kind of going on. It was like a free entry. I don't know if we win any prizes or anything like that, but we do have like a bracket challenge going on at work.
Nice.
Yeah, no, I'm not too bold to put money down, man. It's hard in these streets, Stu. I can't be just putting money away. I put enough money towards my comic book collecting. I can't afford March Madness, betting on the side.
I totally feel that. Yeah, right now it's like things are a bit tight, so it's like I gotta, mostly because of like all the construction going on at my theater. So it's like hours are already kind of like low. So it's just like I have to really manage my money now for the next like couple months.
I'm glad you kind of brought that up in regards to your working at the theater. I heard one of the complaints because later on this year during Christmas time, we're supposed to be having the Doomsday event where you've got Dune and Avengers Doomsday releasing at the same time. Some people are under the impression maybe Marvel might move their release date, but I feel like they want to really tap into this Doomsday event, kind of like they did with Barbenheimer. How is that something that I know it's like March, but is that something that your theater owners or anybody at the theater is talking about in regards to like capacity, amount of people that might be showing up, like staffing and things like that?
Yeah, no, at this moment, I haven't heard anything about it. But yeah, I'm kind of curious. I think I don't think it'll be as impactful as Barbenheimer because I think like the whole thing is that these were two completely unrelated movies, two very different styles, two different tones. Everything about them couldn't have been more different, but they were also both really good and really successful. And so I think that's what made it like such a big event is that they were both big movies, totally different, but both very successful in their own right. And then when we're looking at Dune and Avengers Doomsday, I don't think there's as much contrast between the two of them as there are between Barbie and Oppenheimer. But nonetheless, I do support the idea of them at least kind of like trying to push an event forward with this. So hopefully it works out. But yeah, like I said, we haven't heard anything from our managers about it at the moment.
All right, cool. Yeah, no, it was an article that I was reading that was talking about reasons why theater owners are concerned about Doomsday. And I think one was like a lack of staffing, and then maybe like just materials like soda cups and popcorn buckets and all the necessities that you need if it gets kind of crazy with two big movies coming out at the same time. But you're right, Barbenheimer definitely tapped into two different type of like demographics, right? You didn't really have cross-pollinating or people going back and forth to each movie, even though I personally did. But I definitely do think Doomsday, but I think the Doomsday scenario is very much like I think people will go and see both movies, just maybe not on both days, but I see if people are true fans of the franchise, they'll definitely make it work, I think.
Yeah, I think there would definitely be people seeing both of them on the same day. I just don't think quite as many as Barbenheimer.
Yeah, no, I agree. We'll see what that weekend is like.
But
guys,
weekend definitely.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's good to see everybody here. Oh, excuse me. I got something in my throat today. Hope everybody's having a fantastic weekend wherever you certainly are. Hopefully, you guys have had the opportunity to catch some great movies here this week. I think right now, currently out, Project Hail Mary just dropped this past week for you guys. If you haven't had the opportunity to see it yet, directed by Lord and Miller, and starring Ryan Gosling. And then we also have Ready or Not 2. I don't remember when the first Ready or Not came out. I literally just told Stuart I just watched the first Ready or Not yesterday or the day before. I wouldn't mind trying to see the sequel here sometime later on today, because tomorrow, guys, you guys know how we've been doing around here lately. We've been doing Let's Talk Some Movies. We're going to be going live Monday evening to talk about Project Hail Mary and maybe Ready or Not 2, but we'll definitely keep you guys posted there. But definitely join us tomorrow for some movie talk. I've had a good time the past 2 weeks, Stuart, doing that.
Oh yeah, I have as well. Yeah, just and plus it's been giving me like that excuse that I needed to really like push myself to going to the theaters. And it's so weird. Like I can't there's just something about when I'm like co-hosting compared to like when I'm like trying to do my own thing with it. Like I can't motivate myself if I'm doing my own project, but if it's someone else's thing, like so for this, for example, Hero Report, I can show up. Obviously there are exceptions. There are some days I actually just can't make it. But I feel like I just feel more obligated to like kind of show up and everything. And so like I don't know, and it's like the same thing with our movie reviews. It's like I tried doing my own thing on TikTok where I would talk about movies that I saw like that weekend, but I just kind of just lost motivation to do it after like only a week, so which is really sad and pathetic. But when we're doing our weekly show, like not only do I feel more obligated, but I also get more excited. Like I don't need to motivate myself to
I see what you mean.
I think maybe it's just because I like having someone to talk to about it instead of like talking to an audience,
Trust me, sitting in front of the camera and just talking about something by yourself can be very mundane and just very like, oh, I gotta do this now type of thing. But when you're working opposite somebody, it's always easy to bounce like levels of excitement or eagerness about something that you watched or disappointment in something. It's always easier to talk with other people about it.
Exactly.
But yeah, so every Monday night, definitely expect Let's Talk Movies here at Hero Report. We're still trying to figure out a title and some intro. Give us a few weeks, and we'll have something figured out. We also got Maul Shadow Lord coming in about like 2 weeks here, Stuart. Dropping. The council will in fact be returning to give you guys live reviews of Maul Shadow Lord. So if you're looking for your Star Wars reviews, this is the spot, man. Hit that subscribe button. You won't be disappointed. We've tackled a few shows already. We did the Acolyte. We also did Skeleton Crew. I feel like I'm missing something else too. Andor.
Well, we did season 2 of Andor.
Season 2 of Andor. So yeah, we got plenty of Star Wars material here on the page for you guys if you want to see how our council performs together for other Star Wars content. But yeah, we'd love to have you guys around for Maul Shadow Lord here in a couple of weeks. Real quick shout out to people that are joining us in the live chat today. Remember, since we are live, feel free to throw your thoughts, concerns, whatever we talk about in here as we talk about these topics. These are simply our A+ opinions, but we always want to hear from you. So as we go through these topics, if you have anything to say in regards to what we're talking about, let your thoughts be known in the live chat. We always love having people to bounce conversations off of and get your guys's insight. And to show you guys some love for people that are joining us in the live chat, let's go through here right now and shout out some people. We got Ricky Perez in the house. Said I saw an exclusive sneak peek clip of Toy Story 5 during the shareholders meeting 2026. Very cool, Ricky. Also saw the official trailer for the upcoming Hannah Montana 20th anniversary special, which will be premiering on Disney Plus and Hulu this week. Yeah, I did see I saw a teaser poster or like a poster for the 20th anniversary. I think it was she was recreating like one of the first official posters that they had or something like that 20 years ago. So it was actually pretty cool. Last Sunday, Sony Pictures Animation K-pop Demon Hunters won Best Animated Feature. They also won Best, I want to say Best Original Song, if I'm not mistaken, for Golden. So K-pop Demon Hunters did fantastically well at the Oscars. Disney shareholder meeting confirmed live action Lilo and Stitch releasing in May of 2028 and Incredibles 3 June of 2028. Very cool. So we got a new Incredibles movie in 2 years, y'all. I'm excited for that. I wonder if they brought everybody back creatively for that.
I hope so.
Yeah, I hope so. NBC broadcast premiere of Illuminations, the Super Mario Brothers yesterday. During the movie, they shown the first look at Galaxy movie coming April 1st. Oh man, that's like in a couple of weeks. Oh man, that's gonna be here before we know it. Finally saw the official trailer for the upcoming Star Wars Maul Shadow Lord. It will be arriving on Disney Plus soon. Yeah, I was gonna say we did get ourselves a brand new trailer for it. I'll just go ahead and pull this up. This cool new poster. This was part of an honorable mentions, but since Ricky pulled it up, let's go ahead and check out this fantastic new looking poster. April 6th is the big day. I think that's a Monday, right, Stu? Is that a Monday? Yeah, I think that's a Monday.
No idea.
Yeah, it's a Monday. But I love this poster. The more and more I see these trailers, Stuart, the more I'm getting really hyped for this show. I think the trailers have been fantastic. Mm-hmm. We also got Blossom in the house. What's up, Blossom? Good to see you. Kiki and Luca in the house. Also, I saw Project Hail Mary. It was excellent. Started really slow, but ended up being my favorite movie of the past couple years.
Wow.
Very cool. I saw the new Spider-Man trailer, but No Way Home really set the bar high, and this appears to be a step below. We'll see. Regardless, it's going to make $1 billion. Oh yeah, absolutely. I think this movie is going to crush $1 billion for sure. Peg C in the house. What's up, Peg C? Good to see you as always. We got Tony Robinson certainly coming through today. What's good, Adam and Stuart? Good to see you, man. Peg C says, for a little fun, I asked Google Gemini how a VR Troopers revival would work using Super Space Sheriff Gavin Infinity, and it gave me some interesting scenarios and storylines. Ooh, I need to know, Peg C. I need to know. Whether you let us know in the chat or in the live viewer questions later on today, who knows, man? But I'm kind of curious to see what they thought.
Just saying, man. When it comes to AI, the people that should be afraid about having their jobs taken are CEOs and big corporations. Because here's the thing, man. What do? They throw stuff at the wall and they're like, "Hey, creative team, make this into something good." That's exactly what ChatGPT can do on its own.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I totally agree. Yesterday I was thinking to myself, it was late last night, and I was thinking, man, I still have not watched this Super Space Sheriff Gavin Infinity show. I tried to look up some stuff on my phone that Peg C had given me, but trying to watch on my phone was super difficult. So I might have to actually try and see if I can watch it on my my computer a little bit later. But I am going to watch this damn show. I am going to watch the show eventually. All right, guys. So yeah, feel free to let your thoughts be known in the live chat as we go through today's show. But with that out of the way, let's go ahead and dive into our first segment of the day.
Real quick, sorry. While you do this, I'm just gonna get a quick refill on my coffee. I will be right back.
Go for it. I wish I could turn down the volume on that honorable mentions intro. That shit goes loud. That goes loud. I wasn't sure if it was just me or not. But honorable mentions, for those of you who are not familiar with honorable mentions portion of the show, this is the part of the show in which we talk about topics that didn't quite make our top 6, but felt that you certainly still deserved to know about them. So let's see what's going on in the world of movies and television. We did get ourselves the official full cast of Assassin's Creed. I'm not really too familiar with a lot of the people that are named on here. I'm trying to see if there's even any familiar faces. Sean Harris, I feel like I've seen him a couple times. Oh, Naomi Rapace, I've seen her in a couple of movies. Outside of that, I'm really unaware as to anybody else on this show. Maybe I am familiar with them, but just never knew their name. But Naomi Rapace and Sean Harris are two that definitely stand out to me. I believe the Assassin's Creed show is currently in development finally. So we'll see how it winds up turning out here. We do know that the movie itself wasn't necessarily the best, but I do think with Assassin's Creed and the type of lore that it has and the amounts of lore that it has, I think the idea of a television series will actually probably do it wonders and really allow them to explore a story a little bit better along with some of its characters. So I do think the television streaming route is probably the best way for Assassin's Creed. I think I got Stuart back. You back, Stu?
Indeed. And yeah, I'd
Okay,
agree.
good.
I think like maybe one of the reasons that the first movie didn't do too well with Michael Fassbender was because they tried to cram in like a lot of lore from a bunch of different games, and it just didn't work in the structure of a movie. I mean, there were a lot of other things that didn't work about that film, but I think that was one of them. So I think like basically organizing it into a television show, I think is kind of the smarter way to go.
Yeah, no, I think so too. Let's see here. What's next up on this list? Sorry, my things being a little bit slow. Speaking of casting, we got casting for the live action Scooby-Doo series. McKenna Grace has been cast as Daphne Blake. I think we might have talked about that last week or the week before. We got Tanner Hagen, who's going to be playing Shaggy, Abby Fortson as Velma, and Maxwell Jenkins as Fred Jones. So this is the official casting for the Scooby-Doo gang as of right now. Are you
And
familiar
is
with
this
any of these?
no, but I also wouldn't want to be familiar with a Scooby-Doo cast because I would assume they want to kind of hire young new faces for it. So I think, me not being familiar is probably the right way to go. But is this the show that Netflix is producing that's supposed to have like kind of a more mature vibe to it?
Yeah, this is I think it's Mark Guggenheim that's doing the show. But yeah, it's the Netflix series.
I am curious to see what direction they take this because I think I told you like I had a pitch for something similar at one point with a Scooby-Doo show. The idea would be like one aspect of it is Shaggy was going to be a stoner, and whenever he would smoke weed, suddenly that would be when he would be able to understand Scooby, like Scooby would talk to him in the same voice that he uses in the cartoon. And at first you're thinking, oh, it's just because he's high and he's a moron or something like that, but then there would be things that Scooby-Doo would point out that theoretically Shaggy shouldn't know, but like Scooby was able to point out to him, and so therefore now he knows it, which means there must be some truth to like being able to understand what Scooby is saying, like whether it be hey Shaggy, check that desk, there might be a clue in there, and then Shaggy does and there is a clue in there, so something along those lines. And it would be one of those things that I would want to bring up in the show as something that all the characters find weird but never like actually explain it.
I love it. I love it. The only person on here that I am familiar with is McKenna Grace. I mostly know her from the Ghostbuster movies. She's been in both of them, Ghostbusters Afterlife, along with Frozen Empire. She was just in a brand new movie. I think she was actually in Scream 7. It says on here. Friday, Five Nights at Freddy's. Five Nights at Freddy's 2. Recent film Regretting You. I think that one had Mason Thames in it. There was also another movie that I saw a trailer for called Slanted that looked pretty interesting. And she also did a voice role for an episode of the Batman Cape Crusader Amazon series. So yeah, Kate McKenna, Kate McKenna, McKenna Grace has been a little bit of everywhere lately, but I do like her as an actress, especially from the Ghostbusters stuff. So I'm eager to see what she can do for the Scooby-Doo series.
Oh, okay. I did not recognize her. Now that I'm looking at photos of her with the hair from Ghostbusters. Okay, yeah, I see.
Yeah. She's a little hard to recognize from Ghostbusters, but that's where I really noticed her from. She was at a Dallas convention maybe about a year or two ago. She's got such a bubbly personality, dude. Like she's got so much energy. She's really adorable. But yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing what she can do along with the rest of this gang. But I'm actually looking forward to this live action series. So we'll see how it turns out. We also got some Minecraft news. Good job, Adam, with the horrendous photo I could have picked out. Minecraft Movie 2 has officially cast Kirsten Dunst, not as Mary Jane, but she will be joining the Minecraft movie. So Kirsten Dunst is one of the new additions to the Minecraft franchise.
I just thought of this. How long do you think it'll be? Two-part question to this, actually. How long do you think it'll be before we get a Fortnite movie? And when we do get a Fortnite movie, do you think it'll be like the current state of the game where they're gonna force as many properties into that as possible? So in other words, it would look more like Space Jam 2.
Wait, what would look more like Space Jam 2? Minecraft?
No. If they did a Fortnite movie, just because like that's the game that like a lot of the kids are really into, and that game does like a lot of like crossovers with different properties. I mean, they did one recently with the Power Rangers, So I'm just like wondering if they were to ever adapt that, would they try to get as many properties in there as possible?
I mean, maybe. I think like Ready Player One kind of did a little bit of something like that, right? In regards to the reach of going out to different companies and getting, because I don't think they were all Warner Brother properties. I don't think so.
That's true. I don't think they
but
were.
I think they could. I don't think they were all Warner Brothers properties. So I mean, it's a possibility. I mean, it's Fortnite. I think other studios and would definitely take part in it. I think they'd be open to it just because of the nature that is Fortnite, right? Like, I don't think you can pull off a Fortnite movie without like other studios working together with you.
Mm-hmm. That would be funny to see, though.
Yeah. Marcelino said, it would basically be Ready Player One. I would assume that they would be able to try and pull that off. I hope so. That'd be pretty dope, though. We also have, believe it or not, the Game of Life is in the news here this week. Apparently, the Game of Life movie is in the works from Amazon MGM. Everyone's favorite board game is getting a Hollywood treatment, as sources tell Deadline that Amazon MGM is teaming to bring the Game of Life to the big screen. Sean Anders is directing the film from a script by Alan Loeb. Plot details in the film are being kept under wraps, though. Insiders say they have been trying some time to figure out an idea for the Game of Life movie, and following a meeting with the writer, found the angle and quickly set up the package, tapping Anders to direct. Amazon moved fast to board the project, and the film will now be a big property at the studio as they pen the script. So the Game of Life is headed our way. I actually, believe it or not, so I kind of think there's a lot of potential in that movie.
I'm feeling kind of mixed about it. Like, okay, here's the thing. I think if they make a great movie out of this, it'll be one of those movies that you go into, and when you watch it, if you were to watch it without knowing this was based on a board game, you would just like assume this was just kind of like just a random script. But yeah, I'm curious, I guess.
Yeah, I think that's the mentality that they're probably gonna go for. I mean, having a job, having babies, having kids, having a car. I mean, it just feels like why we haven't gotten the Game of Life movie sooner. I don't know, but I don't know. I think it would hit. I think it would hit some people pretty good, actually. I'm kind of looking forward to it. We'll see if it gains any ground, though. We also got Stranger Things back in the news here, specifically the animated series Tales from 85. According to Variety, Stranger Things is set to return to theaters for Tales from 85. Audiences will be able to see the first 2 episodes of Tales from 85 in select theaters on April 18th. Tickets will go on sale Wednesday at 8 a.m. Pacific time. So tickets have already gone on sale. The screenings in partnership with AMC Theaters will take place in 34 theaters across the U.S. So only 34 theaters for AMC at 12 p.m. and 3 p.m. local time. Fans can also catch viewings at Paris Theater in New York, as well as Netflix House Philadelphia. This isn't Netflix's first foray, so yeah, they Netflix is definitely tapping into these theatrical releases for some of their projects here. For it didn't say how long it was going to be in theaters, but they clearly saw the success of the finale of Stranger Things, maybe a lot of the other stuff that they've been releasing in theaters. This was a strange choice to me, to go ahead and release Tales from 85, but maybe they feel like there's some level of momentum left behind from the Stranger Things finale that they think people will still want to go out to the theaters to check this one out. So I am scratching my head on this one a little bit, Stuart, but I think it's kind of cool, at least, that Netflix is embracing doing stuff like this.
Yeah. It's a little weird that they're choosing to do it with this this in particular, but I still, any chance to get like a, even if it's just a couple episodes, any chance for a theater experience, I'll take it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And then last but not least, to wrap up, we did have a brand new Dune trailer this week. We had a bunch. We had two big trailers this week. One we'll certainly talk about in our main topics, but Dune 3 wind up dropping along with some brand new character posters here. If you haven't had the opportunity to see them for yourself, this movie doesn't drop until December. It's interesting that they dropped their first teaser trailer for this movie. We have yet to see anything in regards to Avengers Doomsday, which is set to go ahead and drop the same day. But I guess when you've got another MCU movie in Spider-Man, there's really no need to be rushing to see Doomsday trailer as of yet. But Dune wanted to go ahead and get ahead of everybody and dropped a brand new trailer to this past week, along with these new exclusive posters to go ahead and really tap into the idea that the epic conclusion, if you will, of this trilogy. I haven't read the book. I haven't read any of the Dune books. Have you read the third book at all, Dune Messiah?
No, I didn't. I honestly didn't even know there was like a third book to this, or I didn't even know there was a book that took place right after the first Dune book, because I thought it was Dune and then the next sequel was like 30 or 40 years into the future. But I also haven't read any of them. I'm hearing all this secondhand. So now knowing that they're that this is based on a book that did take place before that big time jump, I am kind of curious with the loose ends that are going to have to be addressed. And also I'm very curious on the character Robert Pattinson is playing in this movie.
Wasn't he in the other? He wasn't in the other one, was he?
No, this is his first time in Dune.
I think I'm thinking of the butler guy.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's what got me kind of curious about it, is that his character looks so similar to Butler's character from the previous movie.
I wonder if they are related or if they're from the same peoples.
Probably. He might be also genetically modified, Did
you see the trailer at all?
I did, yeah.
What'd you think of it?
I thought it looked pretty cool. But I would say that didn't show me anything that surprised me, only because the first two Dune movies were already so incredible. So when watching this, it kind of gave me more or less of what I kind of expected to see after what we've already seen from the first two movies. So it hasn't shown me anything new, but I do really look forward to it regardless.
Yeah, I saw people's reaction to the trailer for Dune 3, and they've already started the conversations of if Dune 3 is great, where would it stand amongst other trilogies? People are debating Dune or the Lord of the Rings trilogy if Dune 3 winds up hitting. I don't really have any skin in the game, considering the fact that still, believe it or not, I have not seen any of these movies. Me and the girlfriend really gonna have to tap in. Girlfriend, we gotta tap in. We got to tap in before
Gotta
this
do a
movie drops.
marathon.
We got to do a marathon before this movie winds up dropping. We got through maybe like the first half of the first Dune, and then we just never revisited it. So it may be time to just start it over again and begin from the beginning, instead of jumping back where we left off at, because it's been a minute. It's been a couple of years.
To quote the Digimon movie, "Go back to the beginning."
Yeah, so I'm gonna have to check it out for sure, because I do feel a little bit left out here.
Yeah. As for me personally, like if we're ranking it with the other trilogies, I will say it's going to be hard for it to beat Lord of the Rings and Star Wars for me, but that is completely biased because I think that I'm a sucker for nostalgia. You know, I can't help it. It's my internal like bias or something. So it's like one of those things where it's like I love something so much as a kid. I don't think I'm ever going to love it less because of that initial impact it had on me. So with Lord of the Rings and Star Wars, like I don't think I'm ever going to watch a trilogy that like I connect to more than them. Well, mostly Star Wars. I'm sure I can find something that I can connect to more than Lord of the Rings, but not with the original Star Wars.
Something keeps wanting me to find a way to throw in the Aliens franchise, the Aliens trilogy in there, because the more and more I think about it, I really do feel like Aliens 3 was robbed. I know some people really hate the beginning of Aliens 3, but like I actually ended up enjoying Aliens 3 after rewatching it, and I'm just sitting back to thinking to myself, like, this ain't a bad trilogy. Like, this is a really strong trilogy, if you ask me. So anytime anybody talks about like great trilogies, there's a part of me that just wants to be like Aliens, but I know it'll get some pushback.
Yeah, it's funny too, because like I was, just like you, like I hated Alien 3 when I first watched it like years ago. And I think the reason I never went back to rewatch it is because like I've seen so many other people talking about the movie in the same exact way I did. So I'm like, what's the point? I know I'm gonna hate it if I watch it again, but it wasn't until a little bit after Romulus. In fact, I think like you could probably find it on one of our episodes on the podcast where I watched it again for the first time in years, and I was like, Adam, I'm with you. This actually isn't as bad as I remember.
Yeah, it wasn't as bad as I remember, man. Marcelino says the epic conclusion until they get a new director to adapt the rest of the books. I don't know. I mean, I would be kind of curious, like, where do you go from here? Like, Denis Villeneuve is not coming back for sure. So Marcelino is right. Like, if they are going to do any of the other books, the idea of they will definitely have to bring in another director. But I will be kind of curious to see how much Dune 3 makes at the box office. I don't know how much the other two movies have made at the box office. Can you look that up for me, Dune box office wise? Because I would just be kind of curious, like after you complete the trilogy, like is it worth even doing the other books? Do you take a little bit of a break? Like this is such an important IP, I feel like, to Warner Brothers, that if there's a part of me that wants to say if Dune 3 does do well, they will be eager to want to do more Dune. But I don't know how, I don't think the other books are as well recognized as the first 3 Dune books. And then it's just a case of, do you want to take a break before you continue to really mine this IP sort of even more? What did they make at the box office?
So the first Dune movie, keep in mind, this was released in 2021. Theaters were only just now opening back up. So it only grossed about 402 million worldwide, whereas it only made 108 domestically. But again, circumstances. So it has nothing to do with the quality of the film. The second Dune movie is actually the one that made a profit, grossing over 714 or sorry, yeah, $714 million, making, yeah.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. So if Dune 3 does even more, they'll definitely be eager to do more Dune projects for sure.
Yeah, I think I'm with you. My hope is that they take a little break before they start milking it, and they actually, because I feel like because after this trilogy, I think that's when the time jump in the novels takes place. So I would hope that assuming that they all kind of have like their own different vibe to it, I would hope that they would assign the correct writer, the correct director that would actually fit the tone of each individual book, rather than just immediately going, that guy, throwing a dart at the board of directors and being like, that guy, he'll direct it.
Yeah, for sure. Shout out to Kiki and Luca with the super chat for 199 today. Thanks for the show, guys. No, thank you for showing up, Kiki and Luca, all the time, man. We definitely appreciate it. That'll definitely go a long way. Yeah, we'll see what they do with Dune after this. I mean, they had the Dune television series. I don't know how well that did. Is that show even still on? Did they cancel it? Are they going into season 2? Have they done a season 2 already? I'm not even aware of it. I don't know, but I'm sure there's definitely a ton of different avenues they can certainly go. Maybe something Dune animated would be interesting in that front for one of the particular books. We'll see. But yeah, I hope they take their time. I hope they don't just milk this franchise for everything immediately. But that will do it for all of our honorable mentions here today. And as you saw with Kiki and Luca, who did the super chat here for 199, if you want to help out the channel monetarily, you certainly can. We do have super chats and super images available for you guys. Definitely does go a long way to improving the show. But also, if for some reason you can't help us out monetarily, because I know things are tight out there right now for everybody, the way that you can help out the channel, like the video, takes 1 second of your time. It's free. And also feel free to share these videos, clip these videos, download the show. Definitely go ahead and let me know. Ricky says, you forgot more honorable mentions. No, I think that's all the honorable mentions I got. I don't know what else I'm missing. I think that's everything.
That is Power Rangers. Wait, what's going on?
You know what? Damn it. Ricky's right. There are 2 things Power Rangers related that I should have brought up. This might extend today's show, but so the first thing that I saw this week that I thought, ooh, this should be interesting. I'll bring this up real quick for honor. Let me pull up this honorable mentions thing one more time here. We got a new look at the brand new comic book relaunch this week. If it'll pull up for me. Rangers as adults in the first look at comic book relaunch. This is an exclusive from Entertainment Weekly. The continuity starts fresh in this new story. So we got the gang back together, returning as adults, though. 10 years after retiring their morphers and going their separate ways. So what became of them after leaving Angel Grove High? We got some can we see these? There we go. So we got our gang as adults now. I will say the suit design is actually kind of growing on me a little bit. When I first initially saw them, I was not necessarily the biggest fan. But this is our group as adults, having full-time jobs, having to pay bills. Why Kimberly's walking around wearing pajamas, I have no idea. Here's another one. Some pretty cool. I kind of like the character designs. Whoever the artist is of this is pretty dope. There will be more noticeable differences in the timeline compared to the characters we met on the original TV series. Kimberly, however, remains in a strange place. After following her athletic passions to become world-renowned gymnast, her dream career is coming to an end in her mid-20s, while all her friends are only just starting to achieve their dreams. Zach and Trini are both in public service. The veteran Black Ranger now works as a public defender, fighting for those who can't fight for themselves, while Trini has become a diplomat. As for Billy, he stayed behind in Angel Grove to train future generations of Rangers. There's now a need for the OG superhero quintet to reunite after all this time. Billy opens a portal to transport his old friends back to the command center to deal with a threat that's both new familiar. Rita Rabiosa, described as a new and terrifying form of a familiar foe. Interesting. I love the broken horn on over there, but we'll see where the differences come into play here.
So they said, okay, so they say Zach is the public defender.
Rabiosa. Yeah. Uh-huh.
That's okay. And then like Billy staying around to
And
train
what
the
if Tommy
Rangers.
Oliver? It says Tommy will be teased in the first issue. Yeah, Billy's staying in Angel Grove to train new generations of Power Rangers. It said.
Okay, this sounds
Mighty
pretty
Morphin
cool.
Power Rangers. Yeah, it sounds pretty dope. Pretty dope. So yeah. Oh, and it's some other new looks here. Jason is still a teacher, Kimberly a champion, Trini a diplomat, and Zach a lawyer. And I stayed here to help the new Rangers. Okay. Maybe I'll give it a shot. Oh, I love this cover by Jim Chong. Great stuff, man. But yeah, guys, so that we had a brand new look at Power Rangers there, and we did get some new insight in regards to see if I can find Jinsaku's post, the live action series, and got a little bit of a update as well. Let me see if I can find his maybe not the best report that people will be happy with, but it's a report nonetheless, an update. Let me see if I can find it. Give me a second, y'all. Come on, Jen. Where the hell is your... Okay. Okay. Jinsaku, sorry for the month of wait. I wanted to hear back from my most trusted sources about these topics. But Power Rangers, here are a couple Power Ranger updates. Filming will not begin in April. Focus will be pre-production only. So we were to have believed that production was set to go ahead and begin in April. That doesn't necessarily seem to be the case. He doesn't give a new updated production start date though. No one has been cast yet, which is interesting because over the past several months, that's all we've been hearing about is like name drops and people that are currently like in talks. But according to him, no one has been cast yet. Casting is not expecting to begin until summertime. So if casting hasn't expected to begin until summertime, it does make me wonder, like, what are all these names floating around for? Like, who are these people? Delay has been reasons, script rewrites, Peter Jackson production taking longer than initially expected. Show is still a priority for 20th Century, Jonathan and Dan, but they're not going to rush anything. Current draft is still a reboot about a new team of Power Rangers getting powers passed down from the original team while dealing with mind-shifting curse. Lastly, I'm not saying anything other scoopers reported isn't accurate, and I don't want you guys to feel that way either. A part of the game of reporting things early is there's always a chance and a risk of things changing. Most of us are just messengers from trusted sources, and that's okay. So yeah, delays for many reasons, script rewrites, production is taking longer than initially expected. No casting has begun, and it's not expected to begin at least until summertime. And it's still in pre-production as of right now, with no initial date in regards to when it's set to go into production. But it is still considered a priority. So, Stuart, we're back to the drawing board, bro. Back to the drawing board, bro.
Oh man. Well, like, yeah, I get that Percy Jackson is probably taking a little bit longer than expected, but assuming that it's still slated to be released this year, you know, I'm assuming at the latest they'll start production next year. I mean, I hope they start production before that, but like, man, yeah, I guess it all depends on Percy Jackson, how fast they can finish season 3.
But I didn't think that they were currently even working on Percy Jackson anymore. I thought they had stepped down after season 1, which is what made them available. But maybe they're utilizing a lot of the Percy Jackson team in general. Despite the showrunners now being on Power Rangers, maybe they're using a lot of the same production company and stuff. So we'll see, man. We'll see.
Honestly, I kind of
But
hope so, because Percy Jackson, when it came to some of its fight scenes and costume designs, I could see that translating pretty good to Power Rangers.
so the show is not dead; it's just delayed, and so we're just gonna have to wait a little bit sooner, guys. I'm sorry. I'm sorry to tell you. I might have to make an official individual video for that Power Ranger update, but we'll revisit it again, I'm sure. But yeah, guys. All right, now that we'll wrap up our honorable mentions portion of the show. Made us run a little bit late here, but thank you for bringing that up, Ricky. I appreciate it. All right, guys. Stuart, are you ready to tackle these main topics with me, man?
Always.
Let's get into our main show, shall we? We got 6 incredible topics for you guys here today at A+ Hero Report. We're going to be talking about the Spider-Man Brand New Day trailer, along with some rumors that are currently circulating. We even have Lanterns back in the news, as Damon Lindelof is talking about some of his ill-advised comments on the Lantern series itself. More Buffy the Vampire Slayer news. Miami Vice reboot is even in the news here this week, and a ton more, guys. So let's kick off with the man of the hour, Spider-Man himself, as we wind up getting ourselves our very first look at the brand new official trailer for this film. We've been eagerly awaiting this. I think especially ever since like the Super Bowl. I was really hoping that they would have dropped this trailer for the Super Bowl, but they have decided to go ahead and wait a little bit longer. And as we inch closer to this film's release, which I believe is in March, or I mean in June or July, I can't remember the exact release date. Maybe it'll tell me at the end of the trailer here. But if you haven't had the opportunity to check out the trailer, let's go ahead and check it out together, shall we? I'm ready whenever you are, Stu.
Awesome.
I can't believe our first hit MIT. MJ.
Hold on, can you start that over again?
Oh, yeah.
First off, I love this shot. I really love this shot. If you start over from the beginning, just seeing him like sitting down regularly, but it's all inverted. It's kind of dope. And then how the camera angle changes, I kind of dig it.
Yeah.
I can't believe
A
our
really
first
good
hit
shot.
MJ, come on, pretend like you're not the happiest you've ever been in your entire life.
I can't.
I knew it.
Can you pause that for me?
Yeah.
I love that intro simply because of the fact of 2 reasons. One, I love the fact that we still see him deeply caring about MJ. I think it's like a 4-year time lapse since the last time that we've seen them. So the fact that he's still following her, still thinking about her and stuff, kind of reminiscing on a life that he's kind of lost. Just the idea of him seeing that shot, like seeing the recording, and then just like letting his body go off the building, and the sort of the deep sigh that he winds up giving as he's plummeting down to earth, sort of thing, I think gives us a great sort of introspective of like where Peter finds himself mentally at this point in time to kick off this trail. I really enjoyed that.
Definitely. Yeah, it's something that we'll see a lot of in this trailer is they utilize some really creative like angles, especially like not only did you have that really cool opening with just the great scenery, and then of course the camera moving around with it, but I also just really like this shot too, and then there's a couple others that I'm gonna be pointing out that I thought look really incredible.
Yeah.
Hi, my name is Peter Parker. You don't remember me, but we used to know each other. Something bad was going to happen, and the only
okay, here's another one I really like, where it's just kind of like the perfect way to describe like where he's at right now in his life, just, and it's so funny because you had this whole trilogy where I don't want to say like he had it easy, because obviously he still had to work hard and everything, but like a lot of his upgrades, a lot of what he had was like given to him. So now it's really cool seeing kind of like the more comic accurate version of Peter Parker, where it's like now he's kind of like having to build himself up from the very bottom. He literally has nothing. He has no one that remembers him, so he has like literally no one in his life, and he's like living in what looks like I don't even know if
it looks
this
like
is
a basement or something.
Yeah, I don't even know if this is his apartment apartment or if he's borrowing someone else's washer. But yeah, basically, yeah, we see him very much like, just starting from nothing. Again, very similar to what we get in like kind of the earlier comic books.
Bad was going to happen.
Yeah, this is
the only way to stop it was to make
And I like the contrast too. Like we go from that shot to him being handed a key to the city.
Well, I will say this is him having to enter his adulting mode. It's all about adulting now. Like homeboy literally just has one washer in his room. It looks like I don't even know if that's his apartment he's coming home to, if that's somebody's basement, if he's borrowing somebody's place. But like I don't even see a dryer anywhere, Stuart. It's like literally just the one washing machine in the middle of the room. So homeboy's struggling when it comes to adulting on his own. And some people say that this scene right here kind of gives away the end of Spider-Man, Daredevil Born Again season 2, because isn't that the lady that gives him the key? Isn't that the person that's right next to Kingpin in the series? Like his number one in command? Isn't that her? Am I tripping?
It might be. Shit, I
I
didn't notice.
Everyone forget about me.
If it is, I totally missed that.
Because I'm not just Peter Parker. I'm Spider-Man.
The hell, Frank? You just hit me with a van!
Quit your whimpering. Suit yourself.
Go home!
They're like, we can't have you swear. This is a PG-13 movie. I am looking forward to seeing Frank like now in this in like a completely different type of setting. One that has like a huge movie budget, of course, and then one where he's not quite as allowed to be as violent as he is on the Daredevil and his own show on Netflix. So it'll be kind of cool. Like I do think that they've done a good job with this kind of writing in the past, where you take a character who's usually a lot more raunchy and then you put him into like a PG-13 setting. We even kind of see the way they do that in like Superman compared to some of these characters that we see in Superman, and then we see them in Peacemaker. Nathan Fillion even mentions like not only was he a lot more like kind of raunchy in Peacemaker, but he also even mentions like his appearance in Lanterns is going to be filled with more F-bombs than he's ever said before. So I do like this. Like universes are no longer like worried about like keeping R-rated properties in R-rated movies. Like they're okay with having these characters cross over into more PG-13 settings and giving them like kind of a different script to still make them feel like the same character, but more like for a wider audience.
Yeah, I do hope that he fits in here well, and he doesn't come across as a joke per se. It would be, the fact that he webs his mouth in here. I really would love to have that be like a running gag throughout the entirety of the movie. Like anytime that he swears, spider webs just come over his mouth. Like every time that he's about to swear, it's just webbing comes out of nowhere for him to cover to self-censor him in a way. But I am curious that they seemingly know each other too. The fact that Peter calls him Frank, like just casually, feels like they've had this encounter, not just, this isn't their first time meeting each other.
Yeah, that was also kind of interesting.
And sometimes Spider-Man has to do the hard thing, even if it breaks Peter Parker's heart. What is happening to me? Oh, God.
Excuse me, Dr. Banner. I need your help.
What did you say your name was? If DNA is mutating, it would be enormously dangerous.
Spiders have 3 life cycles. When between cycles, it can leave the spider vulnerable to threats.
We are faced with a danger that we can't control.
Can you pause that?
Are you thinking Jean Grey with that scene?
When I first saw it, I'm like, yes. I something tells me yes. I think it's kind of cool visually how they made it look from passing the body to body is a really cool feature. I don't know. I really don't know who Sadie Sink is, man. It's just interesting that people were really commenting like she's Jean Grey from like the very beginning. And then ever since then, it feels like we've gotten nothing but like a bunch of red herrings or other options in regards to who she could play. So the idea of her being Jean Grey to me is like, I don't even know. Like, how does that even fit into this world of this MCU? Like, I get the idea, like we're really starting to tackle maybe the concept of mutation a little bit more, right? Like even Bruce Banner talks about Spider-Man kind of mutating in a certain extent. So I get the connection there, but I think I'm still also trying to figure out like overall in this world, where do mutants fit? Like are Marvel Studios trying to create something here to introduce us to mutants, or like sparingly, but then after Secret Wars, maybe they'll have like a full-on history that kind of goes along with this new world that we're going to be introduced to after Secret Wars. I really have no idea. So I'm looking at Sadie Sink's character and I'm just as lost. There's a part of me that's like, oh yeah, that looks like a Jean Grey moment, but I don't know, dude. I really have no idea, because this looks like if this is her in that shot, this is just more like villainous to me than anything. But maybe it's coming from a perspective that we don't necessarily quite understand as of yet until we see the movie. But I don't know if she's Jean Grey. What do you think? You thinking Jean Grey still, or what? I think you're muted.
I kind of hope not, only because as of now,
Yeah, I hope
sure
not.
This movie could prove me wrong. I can't think of a single storyline you could write with Jean Grey in a Spider-Man movie that would be necessary for a Spider-Man movie. It feels like any storyline I can think of with her character, all I'm thinking of, this would have been better either as her in her own movie or in an X-Men movie specifically, or any other mutant movie. Basically, I think it's just weird to introduce a big X-Men character in a Spider-Man movie.
Yeah, and I just don't. Watching this trailer, and I'll talk a little bit more about it too. I don't want to say it feels bloated, but this seems like there's a lot kind of going on, and I can't quite put my finger in regards to on the direction and what this movie's trying to take us on as of right now. This is just the first trailer, though. I expect the second trailer to be a little bit more plot focused, but like the idea of Jean Grey being a part of this, with all the rumors and speculation that we have kind of going around, it just seems like much, like too much to me to introduce Jean Grey. But like I said, I have no problem eating my words, and maybe they found a fantastic way of implementing her in here, but I have no idea who Sadie Sink is going to play, so we'll see. But let's go ahead and continue.
Out of my way.
I'm so excited to finally see him as Scorpion.
Yeah,
because I loved that tease that we got from the first Spider-Man movie, and I was excited too because I love him in Better Call Saul. So I'm glad to actually see him in the suit, and it looks very similar to the one that we got in Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man.
Yes, dude. I'm hoping that he comes with the same ferocity as the Scorpion that we got in Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man, because he was deadly. Like, he was a threat. Like, anytime he came up on the show, like, you felt the stakes immediately raised. Like, I did see like early concept art of his suit. I didn't really care for the early concept. I'm like, oh, that looks ugly. But like seeing it visually, like, I mean, just from the brief moments that we've gotten, man, this is one Spider-Man villain that literally, I think Scorpion is probably one Spider-Man villain that could probably, I would not mind seeing being the main villain for a Spider-Man movie. I think he's got a fairly prominent role in here. I don't think he's the main bad guy for this, but I do think he's a heavy hitter in this movie.
Definitely. It's definitely going to be a big fight for Peter if he's like anywhere near as strong as he was in the Friendly Neighborhood series.
My way.
You're losing it, kid.
And for those spiders who make it through, it amounts to a kind of...
Okay, sorry, I have to point one thing out, because obviously these shots all come from different Spider-Man covers.
Make it through.
Like, this was Spider-Man's first appearance, Amazing Fantasy number 37, 38, something like that.
It amounts to a kind.
And then this one, I don't remember
I think it was Eric Larson or Todd McFarlane cover. I can't remember.
Yeah, it was just such a cool recreation shot. And then this was actually from the very first Spider-Man comic book that I ever read.
Oh, really?
Basically, yeah, this
Nice.
was like back in elementary school. We had like the whole like there was like the 30-minute period every day where we would just pick a book to read. And if you didn't have a book with you, you could pick a book from the classroom. One of the books that was there in the classroom was what do they call it? Compendiums, I think. It was a Spider-Man compendium with that cover on it. And it was basically a big collection of different Spider-Man comic books. It was all in black and white, unfortunately. That was like the one annoying thing about it. There was like no color except for the cover of the page. But yeah, it was my very first introduction to Spider-Man. So it is cool to see like Spider-Man and Tarantula's fight here being recreated from that cover.
Yeah, I really do appreciate the what Destin Daniel Cretton is doing here with the covers. I don't think those are the only 3 shots too. I do expect more to be shown from inspiration from covers too, like the classic Punisher and Spider-Man one when he's got him kind of like in the scope as he's like falling off of the building. I personally would love to see them recreate that. I'm kind of hoping that that's in the movie also. But yeah, he's in his bag, man. He definitely knows what he's doing. But the fact that we have so many villains in here, like those quick shots, like it wouldn't surprise me if that's the amount that we actually get to see these other villains in. Like this almost feels like a recap of like what Spider-Man has kind of been up to, or like suggesting to us, how busy Spider-Man has been on the ground in his neighborhood over the past 4 years, really fully invested in. Here are some of the villains that he's kind of gone up against. Like, I don't know if we're going to get like a full-on Boomerang battle or a full-on Tarantula battle. I mean, if we do, I think that they're probably going to be pretty minor and minuscule, but maybe building into bigger narrative in regards to the movie itself. So I don't expect them to have long presences in the film, but the fact that Destin's going out of his way to recreate these is phenomenal.
I also, is that supposed to be the hand?
The hand, yes.
Oh my gosh.
Rebirth.
Pause. Can you pause that? Can you go back? Similar to No Way Home, people are like, this seems like an odd shot. Remember when you had like you had Tom Holland Spider-Man facing off against like an entire rogues gallery, and people are like, is he going to face all of them by himself? And some people were like, no, I think they edited out some people. I already see them talking about this particular shot that they're editing out some other characters already. Can we slow-mo? Can we play that shot, that scene one more time?
Yeah,
I see the top 3 look like, no, you don't have to slow it down. I just mean like if you want to go back to just rewind just a little bit, because the top 3 look like they're going to Spider-Man. I am curious where the bottom 3 are going, or if they're all going for him, or if there's somebody else that might be edited out though.
Yeah, if that's the case, they definitely did a much better job than the previous Spider-Man trailer, where you had a Lizard's face specifically going, ugh, like someone punched him.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Which everyone knew. Okay, they edited out one of the Spider-Men. So yeah, I could see in this final shot, I wouldn't be surprised if we get more like street level heroes that they're keeping secret out of the movie. I mean, it feels so weird if he's facing the hand and there's no Daredevil. Like, we got the Punisher, so it's cool that they have that Netflix connection there. But I do find it weird that Daredevil isn't involved at all, especially because we even saw him in the previous movie. So yeah, I wouldn't be surprised basically if we saw Daredevil and the Punisher somewhere in the shot. How they would be able to swing, like, I guess Daredevil could use his batons too, of course, because he tends to do that in the comic book, swinging from building to building. Frank, maybe a grappling hook, maybe he's like kind of got a grappling gun like on the bottom of that building there, and he's like sliding down, has a gun up ready to fire at them. But yeah, like I could still see them pulling off a similar thing.
I think so too. We'll see.
Yeah, it's just there's no obvious one person gets punched by something that isn't there, like there was with the Lizard.
Nice flowers.
Oh, they're a housewarming gift.
I'm MJ.
I'm just a neighbor from across the hall.
Friendly neighbor.
July 31st. There you go. July 31st is the big day. So yeah, man. Let's talk about it. I really enjoyed the trailer. The trailer looks fire. It immediately gives me vibes of this is a brand new era for Spider-Man. You know, I can't. There's one thing that I can't stand, Stuart, and I can't stand when people have to tear down what kind of came before in order to boost up what we have now. And I know we tend to be very reactionary for what's like in front of us at this moment. And people are, you know, I see this trailer drop and I see people are like, oh, this blows out anything that John Watts ever created. I'm like, what are you talking about, dude? Like, first off, it's a trailer. We don't even know if the movie itself is going to be any good yet until we actually see itself. But I think what John Watts was able to create was perfect for the time period in which Peter Parker was at his life in regards to being in high school and meeting his friends, right? Like the early Steve Ditko kind of Spider-Man stuff felt very much in line with what John Watts was kind of trying to create with like this coming of age story for Spider-Man to get him to that point of going to a university or going to, you know, adulthood sort of thing and having to kind of fend for himself. So the idea that we have a director in Destin Daniel Cretton that is bringing a brand new vision feels very appropriate for where Peter Parker finds himself. And I think from a first look, as far as the trailer goes, I think this trailer did a phenomenal job of at least establishing that for us, that this is, in fact, a brand new era. Color grading, color schemes, everything just pops differently for me. But it feels very much more like a more adult Spider-Man. And I'm here for it, Stuart.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. And I think like, because yeah, I love the original John Watts Spider-Man trilogy, but I definitely see where a lot of people were coming from with saying that it doesn't feel like the same Spider-Man. For me, it never bothered me because I think they got the important aspects of Peter Parker correct with this version of Spider-Man. I think in terms of what he stands for, they got that. In terms of you know, the fact that he's supposed to be one of the smartest people in the Marvel universe, they got that. Yeah, so I think like they got all the really important aspects about Peter Parker within the John Watts trilogy. But yes, there was the whole thing of his setting definitely felt very different from what we're used to with the Spider-Man comic books. So I definitely like that they ended the trilogy so they could set it up to be exactly like, you know, kind of almost like that whole trilogy was like an origin story in a way. You know, it was like the MCU's origin story for, it was just like a long origin story for Spider-Man. But you know, I don't think this reboot is, or because I'll call it a rebirth, like they even say it in the trailer. This is a rebirth, but I don't think it dismisses the previous trilogy. I think if anything, the fact that they're, you know, they're praising the fact that it happened, but they're also accepting the fact that like there are consequences to how it ended, and that it looks like, you know, Peter can't go back to it. It looks like that's kind of an impossibility for him. So I really look forward to seeing how that all plays out. Also, yeah, Marcelino says many still want Uncle Ben in the MCU, but I think at this point, like, I think it's kind of safe to say that like Ben wasn't as significant in Peter Parker's life as he was in the comic books. I don't know for sure because this was said in an interview, so I wouldn't consider this canon, right? But supposedly Uncle Ben died in 2012, and it wasn't because of a guy that, you know, Peter Parker let go as Spider-Man. It was because essentially, I guess he got killed from some debris during the Chitauri invasion. That was from Kevin Feige, though, in an interview. So you don't have to consider that canon if you don't want to as a Spider-Man fan. But yeah, it is something that I've kind of just accepted at this point. I don't think we're ever going to get Uncle Ben in the MCU.
Yeah, I don't believe that we are either. But you know, that they you know, I'm sure they can try and pull it off if they wanted to. But yeah, I would agree with you. I don't think so either. I will say there is a new rumor that's starting to circulate. Apparently, multiple sources have been contemplating the idea. And again, I would say take this sort of as a grain of salt. But it is one that I personally am really fond of and kind of hope that it's true. How it kind of fits into the grand scheme of things, especially with everything that we've seen. There's already a heavy dosage, I think, of people suggesting that we might get maybe like a man spider kind of story arc in here also. Where he grows the 6 arms, whether or not he goes full on sort of like creature mode, mutation, who certainly knows. So we already have that's kind of being theorized by people. But one rumor that's kind of gaining some traction right now that I find interesting is, according to comicbookmovie.com here, is the Jackal Spider-Man Brand New Day's hidden main villain. Trailer clues and rumors explain. I will say one of the things about the trailer that I find odd is it doesn't really give us a main antagonist like at all. We get to see a bunch of different people in here: Boomerang, Tarantula, Scorpion, yada yada. But we don't really know who's pulling the strings, right? We also know that Tombstone is in this movie, but he's nowhere to kind of be found in this trailer whatsoever. We have a voiceover about talking about the 3 stages of a spider. That's not the actor that's voicing Tombstone, so that's certainly not him. Some people are theorizing that the voice that we're actually hearing is the scientist Miles Warren, who is also known as the Jackal. According to some reports, it says a certain Dr. Miles Warren, perhaps. It says a professor at ESU. He had become obsessed with the student Gwen Stacy, and when she died, transformed into the villain known as a Jackal. He eventually went on to clone her and Spider-Man, creating Ben Reilly. Multiple source scoopers have said that the Jackal appears in Brand New Day. And most recently, the Cosmic Circus's Alex Perez wrote, "I know Miles Warren is one of the antagonists in the movie, but as the Jackal, not necessarily the scientist." So I am kind of curious if he's the one pulling the strings, or if he is just going to be just another name to pop up in here as part of like a quick villain montage of people that Spider-Man has faced off against, and somebody else is kind of pulling the strings behind behind the scenes sort of thing. I don't think that this I don't think this is too far-fetched though, Stuart, if I can be honest with you. I look, as somebody who is a big fan of the Clone Saga, I know it's definitely gotten some pushback from some fans, but growing up in the 90s, bro, I love the Clone Saga. Like, I truly did. Ben Reilly's like one of my favorite clones, or like characters to come out of the Spider comic book universe in general, sort of thing. So the idea of the Jackal being in this movie, I'm not gonna. I think this is one rumor in theory I want to believe, and that I do believe is true.
And regardless of how people feel about the Clone Saga, if they adapt it, it's not like they're going to be doing the Clone Saga like page per page. It's they're going to do what they usually do. They take elements of it and they write their own original story around it. So it's not going to be the same. Yeah. I'm kind of going with the man spider theory at the moment. Main reason being the fact that we also got the Punisher in this movie. And I remember from the cartoon, there was that one episode where, the Punisher was going after Spider-Man when he was the man spider, because he was convinced that Spider-Man killed Peter Parker. So yeah, I could see it happening.
Yeah. I mean, maybe, it's interesting because, you talked about the idea that he was hunting him because he thinks he killed Peter Parker. I mean, it does bring up the idea of like, is somebody aware as to that there was once a Peter Parker? Like, does somebody remember that there was a Peter Parker out there that's hiring the Punisher to try and find Peter Parker?
MJ and Ned, they just met him because he's their new friendly neighbor, and then suddenly he grows 6 arms and then stays hidden because he doesn't want people to see him with his 6 arms. And I don't know how they go to the Punisher for that, but somehow the Punisher ends up like looking around his apartment, seeing all the webs, and then one of them's like, our friend Peter lived here, and then that's when he's like, Spider-Man must have killed Peter. I don't know.
I mean, if you look at the trailer when Peter Parker does go over to the house party at the end when MJ is talking to him and Ned, if you look in the background, they look like they've got pictures of Spider-Man on their wall.
Yeah,
almost like they're doing some level of investigation themselves too. So it'll be interesting to see how that kind of plays out. But I wanted to also pull this up here for you because I found this interesting. After this theory of the Jackal came across my internets, I saw this image again, and I never noticed this until now. But what does that say at the bottom, Stuart?
The Jackal kills Spider-Man.
I can't remember exactly what the
can't see
wording says, but considering the fact that I have been wanting them to recreate this very shot, and we've got the Punisher gonna be in this movie, I do believe this issue, if I'm not mistaken, is the debut of the Jackal in this comic book as well. So I don't know what games Destin Daniel creating is playing with over here. But I do think that there is something to the idea of like whether or not he's pulling the strings or we get introduced to him at the end. I find it interesting. And I also will say this too. I think this is like the perfect opportunity to introduce the Jackal if they wanted to, solely based on the idea that there is no Peter Parker in this world, right? Like, even though Peter calls himself, like in the beginning of this movie, he's clearly reading the letter, and he's like, I'm Peter Parker, and he's trying to like explain things that's kind of going on. Nobody else in this movie refers to him as Peter Parker. Bruce Banner asks, "Hey kid, what's your name?" And he doesn't answer him or anything like that as well. So I think somebody might have asked us this question before too, like, what name is Peter Parker gonna go by in this movie? Like, is he gonna introduce himself now to everybody as Peter Parker, but they just have no memory of who he was prior? Is this an opportunity? I think we teased this too. Like, is this an opportunity to him to introduce himself as Ben Reilly in a weird kind of spin on things? Like, if I'm the Jackal and somebody's just been kind of removed, what if this is his opportunity to create a Peter Parker? What if our Peter Parker, Tom Holland, takes the name Ben Reilly, but then the Jackal creates ourselves a new Peter Parker?
And then on top of that, the Jackal becomes an excellent gaslighter and goes, "Hey, Mr. Peter Parker, what is that you go by? Ben Reilly? Come on, think about it. What is more likely, that a wizard magically made everyone forget you existed, or that you're a clone with fake memories?"
I mean, who knows? Maybe this whole entire movie, bro, is the Peter Parker clone.
Ooh.
At
the very least, I want them to make us as an audience actually second guess what's happening. Like, I want the Jackal to gaslight Peter so hard into thinking he's a clone that we as the audience are like, oh shit, is this actually a clone?
I want to end this movie with twin Tom Hollands staring at each other as Peter Parker and Ben Reilly, or they both think that they're Peter Parker. That's how I want this movie to end, bro.
Yes.
I don't know. I just think that there's a really cool opportunity to do something here. But there's just so much going on in this one trailer. Like, I have no idea where this movie is going or who the antagonist is. So it's really up in the air. I think they've done a really good job of keeping things unshown to us as fans, especially with July coming so closely. I mean, maybe that's part of the key. Maybe there's just like a really big twist in this movie that they're like, we need to hold off on promotion for this movie as long as we can, so nothing like leaks or winds up like coming out about this film. So we'll see what happens. But look, guys, I want to know your thoughts. What do you guys think about some of the theories going on? What do you guys think about the trailer itself? What worked for you? What didn't work for you? I definitely would love to know your guys' thoughts. Real quick in the live chat before we move on. Where'd it go, guys? I will one. What's up, I will one? I feel like I haven't seen you in a minute, man. Love that inside mask shot. Very different to Tony's. Yeah, it feels like a heads up display kind of shot, also to a certain extent. But yeah, it is a pretty dope looking shot. I kind of dig it. Tony Robinson says people hating on MJ when MJ and Raimi's version was getting passed around like a neighborhood football. I mean, to be fair, it's been like 4 years, right? I mean, we don't know what she's been up to. There's maybe she's finally fallen in love with somebody. Maybe it's taken her a long time, but I do think that she feels like there is a connection to the Spider-Man character that she doesn't quite necessarily understand. I mean, there's a cool shot where she does see or meet Spider-Man face to face. So how that scene goes down, I'm not quite sure, but it's been like 4 years, man. I mean, come on. People need to let her live her life. Marcelino says some people think that Sadie Sink's character will be the Spider Queen, a lesser known Spider-Man villain, and her role will be pretending to be MCU's Gwen, all to turn Peter into Man Spider. Interesting. Yeah, maybe, or maybe she's a clone of a Gwen Stacy. Shout out to Indy also. Appreciate you coming through. Marshall says, I hope they explain the Hand's return and why Daredevil and Iron Fist aren't involved. Yeah, I think it also wouldn't surprise me if in that shot, when they're facing off against each other, if Daredevil's in that shot as maybe a brief montage of some of the villains that he's had to kind of face off with. Like I put that shot in the same shot that I put the Tarantula and Boomerang kind of shot. But I do think the Hand battle in the prison cell will be its own action sequence. I see like Jackie Chan stunt team all over that one, bro.
Man, I'm so excited actually, because this is going to have some of the best fights we've seen in a Spider-Man movie, because we've already seen what the director can do with Shang-Chi when he's like, given like all that creative freedom. So like I'm excited to see what he does with Spider-Man, and the fact that I totally forgot until you brought it up that Jackie Chan's stunt team is going to be behind some of the fight scenes.
Yeah, I'm excited to see what the fights look like. Tony Robinson said, I saw a YouTuber says she doesn't like John Bernthal because of a character he played in another project. I mean, sometimes that I feel like sometimes that can happen. Sometimes seeing a character or an actor play a particular character kind of either ruins them for you or just kind of stays with you. There's one guy that used to happen with me all the time. Like I saw him in one role and he just creeped me out so badly that anytime that I saw him in anything else, it's really hard to watch him. I'm like, I don't like this dude. He just gives off this weird vibe to me.
First time I watched Dexter, that was my exact thoughts with the actor playing Dexter. Is I'm like, dude, this guy seems way too into the role.
yeah. I can't watch Dexter for that reason. Like he's just too convincing to me. He really creeps me out. I can't watch it.
Such a great actor. That's how you know you're doing your job.
Yeah, for sure. Marceline says maybe Tombstone is the mastermind behind everything, is manipulating Frank to kill Peter and knows Peter is Spider-Man. It's a possibility for sure. Marceline says a majority of 90s comics suck. Clone Saga, Parallax, From 0 Hour, Death of Superman, Heroes Reborn. I mean, I will say during the time I fucking loved them. Clone Saga was like my favorite. I'm still bummed out because I sold a lot of my Spider-Man comic books maybe like 15 years ago, and I lost a ton of my Clone Saga stuff, so I am kicking myself in the ass for that. I wouldn't mind getting like an omnibus of the entire Clone Saga if I could, because I do want to go ahead and reread through all of it. Death of Superman, I remember I didn't collect the Death of Superman, but I did get the original Death of Superman issue, and then I wind up getting it in like a trade paperback form. Not the strongest, I will say, not the strongest storyline, but pretty epic in regards to what happened. I do remember collecting all the 0 Hour stuff. I love that shit. Heroes Reborn, on the other hand, I will agree with you. While I appreciated like having people like Rob Liefeld draw Captain America and Jim Lee tackling the Fantastic Four, like their 4 issue sort of Heroes Reborn stuff I ate up, man, because it was just really cool to kind of see like these Image comic level artists kind of tackling classic Marvel characters. I can't remember who did Iron Man. And I'm also trying to remember who did the Avengers stuff at that time also, because those were the 4 big books for Heroes Reborn during that time. But I can't remember. But I'm sure some people in hindsight, looking back, maybe not the strongest stories, but I got to tell you, Clone Saga continues to stick with me forever. So I'm hoping that if they do a Clone Saga, I hope they take some liberties for sure to make it fit the big screen and maybe make some corrections where it was lagging.
I'm just gonna say I have a soft spot in my heart for Death of Superman. Absolutely love the art in it, and then of course, dude, I think if there was one thing that really disappointed me, I wouldn't call this like an actual complaint about the movie because I had plenty of those, but one thing disappointed me about Dawn of Justice is that if there was anyone that could have gotten this shot right, it was Zack Snyder. So it bummed me out that they did not recreate this shot. Obviously, it wouldn't have made sense for the story that he went for, but I wish Zack Snyder would have created this shot here, which is like one of my favorites, where it's like Superman and Doomsday doing the final blow and then getting it from the reflecting lens of the camera that Jimmy Olsen is using. Like, I love that shot so much, and I wanted to see it so badly created in live action. And I thought Zack Snyder would have been the perfect director to create that image, but no, he went the most lame route possible that he could have with Doomsday. Just like, oh, we're gonna create him last minute as like a clone of Zod, because we got to force a final conflict somewhere in this movie.
Blossom yeah, no, I agree. I feel like we've done Doomsday so many times now at this point. It's just like nobody's recreated that shot. It's kind of unbelievable.
I didn't expect Superman and Lois to be able to create it, so I wasn't disappointed that we didn't get in Superman and Lois, because like I feel like you would need a pretty expensive setup to be able to recreate it exactly the way it was in the comics. So I'm cool with Superman and Lois doing its own thing, but Dawn of Justice was the opportunity to do it.
Yeah, it really was, though. Soldier Spider-Man comics. Why in Virgil Hawkins' name did you do that? I was moving to Florida for a brief period of time, and I needed as much cash as I could possibly get for the move. It was kind of a last minute. Just I was like in my late 20s. I was young, stupid. I'm like, I could do this, right? Like, why not, right? I didn't have anything really holding me back in Texas. So in the process of moving, I was like, I need to sell some things. And I just remember taking my collection to the comic book store, and man, I just, for what I was paid for it, it wasn't worth it, Stuart. Like in hindsight, looking back, like what I can't remember how much they paid me, but I remember walking away disappointed, thinking to myself, I probably shouldn't have done that. So yeah. When
you're like young and you're kind of like transitioning from one place to another, a lot of people will know, they'll just take anything I throw at them. So they'll give you like the lowest possible bid they can give you.
Yeah, but I had a massive Clone Saga collection for sure, and just Spider-Man, Spectacular Spider-Man, Web of Spider-Man. I was a big fan back then. That's my boy, Mark Bagley, I think, was the artist of Spider-Man. And I always loved the way that he drew Spider-Man. So I was always a fan of his work on Amazing Spider-Man. But yeah, guys, let us know your thoughts in regards to the Spider-Man Brand New Day trailer and some of the rumors that are circulating. Let us know your thoughts in the comment section box below. And from one comic book franchise to the next, we're going to move over to the DCU, specifically in regards to DC Studios, as Lanterns is back in the news here this week. Lanterns has actually been in the news over the past couple of weeks, ever since the trailer wound up dropping, but I haven't really talked about it too much because people have really been shitting all over this this Lanterns trailer, Stuart, in regards to its lack of green. People are starting to get really worried about what this series is going to turn out to be, regardless of what past people in interviews have said that have worked on this television show. People got a first look, and it doesn't matter what anybody said, Stuart. It's like, nope, this television show is just not going to work, Stuart. It's a failure before it even arrives. So much so that over the past last week, I believe, one of the biggest comic book writers in the world, Grant Morrison, came out and had some negative words to say that Damon Lindelof, as a clip of an interview that he had given like more than a year ago or so, had kind of resurfaced for some fans to kind of reinforce their worry and doubt about the show itself. And I guess Grant Morrison must have gotten a hold of this clip and listened to it. And man, did he whip some ass verbally in regards to what Damon Lindelof certainly had to say. I don't know if maybe you can I don't know if you can find it, Stuart. Damon Lindelof's Green is Stupid interview or Green is Stupid comments. Because it has caused some controversy, so much so that this week Damon Lindelof literally had to come out and issue an apology to the fandom in regards to it. But I kind of want people to see the interview for themselves so they can see the context maybe in which it was Damon Lindelof said it. Were you able to find it, Stu?
I can't find the interview. Instead, the first things that popped up were Nerdrotic and Geeks and Gamers. So I know it's going to be a super biased view of it.
Oh yeah.
And then a few other channels that I'm not familiar with, but I can just tell from the thumbnails that these are definitely the griftier type of channels. So I can't find the interview on its own.
Oh, okay. I think I found it. Hold on one second here. I think I found it. Let me see if it'll let me, because I want people to. Okay, here we go. As I want people to be able to see the interview for themselves. It's only like 30 seconds. So let me go ahead and pull this up if it'll let me.
Okay, this is okay.
Okay, here we go.
I can't hear it.
Oh, you can't hear it? Okay, hold on a second.
Although, you know what this is kind of reminding me of, just because this is like an old thing that's now popping right back up. There was like a tweet from James Gunn where this was, of course, years before he owned or he became the head of DC Studios. But at one point, James Gunn made a tweet saying that he hates David Lindelof and that David Lindelof is not a real writer. He's a scam artist.
Oh God.
And of course, cut to years later. Hey, David, you want to write for the Lanterns? I do wonder what that conversation was like. Oh, do you want me to write or do you want me to scam?
For sure. All right, here we go. I think I found it. Let's go. Okay.
So you just announced a Green Lantern show. It's called Lanterns because we all agreed that the green was stupid. So
Right.
So now it's just lanterns.
So, Green Lantern, the lantern.
So you can make anything you can imagine that if you have this magical ring,
Right.
Yes,
And the fights are still close.
yeah.
The fights are so close.
Okay, here's the thing about the way he said it. I think the problem, and there was a big pause after he said it. I think he said it completely as a joke and was expecting a laugh track. I don't think he was like, I don't think he was actually trying to say it was stupid. I think it was like kind of just like him going with the flow of knowing why they named it Lanterns because, obviously it is because they wanted to come off as more gritty than Green Lantern. But like, I don't know. I think him saying, because green is stupid. I think he said that clearly as a joke.
Bro, clearly as a joke. Like when I've watched this thing several times, and I'm like, the way that he says it, I'm just like, dude, he's clearly joking. Like he's clearly joking. But like, bro, people have taken this and they run with it. And now Damon Lindelof is out here apologizing to people for this. So Damon Lindelof breaks silence on HBO's Lanterns controversy. I was sloppy and careless. Damon Lindelof wrote a heartfelt open letter on Instagram to the Green Lantern fandom community in the wake of a comment he made on a podcast, getting some backlash. Basically, Lindelof was on a podcast a year ago when he explained why the show wasn't called Green Lantern and joked it's called Lanterns because we all agreed that the green was stupid, and so now it's just lanterns. Then the show's teaser trailer was released, which contained a downright scandalous lack of green in its color palette. In fact, it's rather sordidly beige. Lindelof's comments was recirculated, with some fans growing suspicious that the show wouldn't be faithful to its source material. Then on Sunday, acclaimed Green Lantern comic book writer Grant Morrison weighed in, writing on Substack, TV writer Damon Lindelof's comments, notwithstanding the green in Green Lanterns is not stupid. Why does a writer attach himself to this kind of narrative if he thinks it's fundamentally stupid? What is this jockish dismissal of superhero conventions intended to prove anyway? The only people who give a fuck about Lanterns TV series are Green Lantern fans. Why alienate them at the start? That feels more like stupid. So yeah, he just went completely in on. I'm sitting there, I'm like, bro, it's a joke. It's a joke. But it says at this point, Lindelof, who again has plenty of experience with receiving online love and online backlash, decided it was best to say something. So he says, I have upset Grant Morrison, which means I have now pissed off most of the brilliant British-Scottish comic writers that I grew up idolizing. To quote the Bard, this is nobody's fault but mine. Continued Lindelof, he says, I made a dumb joke on a comedy podcast. I'm not going to bob and weave about context. The joke was dumb. The fandom is not. I owe them an explanation and a genuine reflection of my actual feelings. He says, the very first time I appeared on a Comic-Con convention for the Lost Pilot back in the summer of 2024, I wore my favorite t-shirt. Talking about this picture right here, wearing him rocking his Green Lantern shirt. As I had long grown out of my favorite underoos, those being the uniformed Hal Jordan Green Lantern of Sector 2814. For a quiet, uncoordinated kid, there was nothing cooler than a hero whose superpower was his imagination. And green is not stupid. It is my lifelong favorite color, and I have a questionnaire that I filled out in 3rd grade to prove it. Green is fucking awesome. Most importantly, it would be a betrayal to everyone I work for and alongside to say anything other than I'm absolutely honored to be a part of the team that manifested the incredible construct that is Lanterns, because it was. I was sloppy and careless with my words. Ironic considering I care so much about Hal, John, and the entire Corps. I can and will do better to be worthy of the oath. Until then, I'll let the show speak for itself, and I can't wait for all you to hear what it has to say. So there you have it. Lindelof loves Green Lantern. He loves the color green. The show will have green in it. And at some point, a new trailer will release for Lanterns, which you can bet will have some splashes of green. So yes, Stu. This has been a shit show, bro, since the fucking trailer dropped for Lanterns. Do you want to take this one? I am kind of curious to know what you think about it, though.
Honestly, he gave the most professional apology that you can give when you make a bad joke and someone doesn't like it. Again, I thought it was a joke the way he said it. He says it was a joke the way he said it, and then he presented, the idea that he's been a Green Lantern fan for a long time. So I'm personally going to take him at his word for it. I can still see. Here's the thing, even though I'm making all these comments about how many people kind of jump to conclusions, I will also say there's a layer of understandability where they're coming from, because yes, I can see how, in the perspective of some really hardcore Green Lantern fans seeing this trailer, it almost feels like I can see a perspective where it almost feels like a movie or a TV show that's ashamed to be a Green Lantern show and is trying really hard to distance itself from the source material just based on the lack of green. And so when you see that, and then you get this out of context comment that green is stupid from the same person that brought you this trailer, I can see why some people would jump to the conclusion that this guy just doesn't want to do a Green Lantern show, and why did they put this guy in charge, that kind of a thing. But I do think that it is one of those cases where he just really badly phrased the joke and it did not land in this interview. And yeah, I think that above anything else, the show itself will speak for itself when it comes out. Maybe the show will be, as bad as everyone is worried about. Maybe it will be one of those cases where, wow, they really were ashamed to be doing a Green Lantern show. But I think, again, the trailer didn't show us a lot, and I think that was on purpose. I think there's a lot that's going to happen in the show that they're trying to keep hidden. And I think that people just need to be a little bit patient before jumping to conclusions about it. Personally, I don't think he actually thinks Green Lantern is stupid. I think it was a joke. I think he was just, making a bad joke, and it just didn't land. He didn't get the laughter he expected, hence why there was that really awkward silence after he made that comment. It was like he was waiting for an audience to laugh, and nothing happened.
Yeah, that's brutal when you make a joke and nobody laughs at it. It's like, oh, yikes, okay. Clearly there were some Green Lantern fans in the crowd that were like, I don't like the sound of that one, Damon. But no, I will agree with you in the sense that, like, I can't say that I like, if I was a full-on Green Lantern fan, right? And I saw this trailer, and then I heard what Damon Lindelof certainly had to say. Again, the interview was like a year ago. I can understand people maybe being a little bit concerned, being certainly a little bit worried in regards to it. And I also have to, like, sometimes take a step back and look at things from, like, my perspective of, like, I don't want to say I do this for a living, but I do this as a hobby, in the sense of I go through interviews, right? I read how shows are developed. We've heard from Chris Mundy, we've heard from Tom King, we've heard from other writers on this show that all talk about how heavily influenced this Lantern show is in the world and in the lore of Green Lanterns, how it will tap into the intergalactic and sci-fi aspect of things. And while I certainly know that, I'm sure that there are general audience members out there that may not necessarily know those things, right? So the only thing that you may be aware of when it comes to Lanterns is seeing this trailer and thinking, man, there's really no green or any, like, constructs in here. And then hearing the interview, if that winds up coming across your feed also, I can understand the idea of how it would certainly worry some people. And in that regards, like you said, Stuart, I think sometimes us as a fandom do need to kind of take a step back, breathe a little bit, and allow the show and the project that they've created to certainly speak for themselves before we jump the gun. Because there are some people that I think have taken it to, like, a whole nother level. Like, people that are out here talking about, we owe Ryan Reynolds an apology for Green Lantern. No, hell no. Like, no, like, never gonna apologize to that man for that movie. Or people already completely dismissing this series before it's even had the opportunity to really shine and show what it's certainly capable of. Like, those people, I think, definitely need to kind of take a little bit of a step back and recalibrate a little bit. I will say this was clearly a joke to me. I don't think Damon Lindelof needed to give an apology to anybody, but I will say I think him giving an apology is probably the best thing that could have happened to this Lantern show, though, because I do think that, one, it shows his humility and his ability to maybe he probably in his head doesn't necessarily think, like, man, that what I did was wrong, but I think he understands from a perspective of the position that he holds and something that he's writing, and how that can certainly be taken out of context. So the fact that he's man enough to come out and apologize and really clarify his words and his stance on where he is as far as writing Green Lantern and his love for Green Lantern, I do think that he did the right thing, even though I don't necessarily think he needed to do this. But now that he has done the right thing here, there's a part of me that's hoping that the narrative is now shifting. I'm hoping that people that have come down on Damon Lindelof and his comments, and now looking at the trailer again after Damon Lindelof's apology, I am hoping that this is now giving them a sense of wait and see. Let me hold my breath a little bit. Let me give this show a little bit more of a chance, because now I think by him apologizing, it's allowed those that have been critical to be a little bit more open-minded, maybe going into, say, a second trailer that might drop, or the show itself. So I do think that he has given Lanterns a second opportunity here with this apology. So I don't think he did wrong by doing this. I don't think he needed to, but I do think it's really going to benefit the show in the long run now.
Definitely.
But yeah, guys, let me know what you guys think in regards to that. Blossom says, I just hope Lanterns turns out well. I certainly hope it does too. I think they've got some great writers on board. The fact that we wind up having Damon Lindelof, who I think he's a really great writer. I really enjoy what he's able to do. I don't know if he lands everything, but I think he's got this thinking outside of the box that really works. And then, you know, Chris Mundy from the Ozarks, who did a phenomenal job with that series. And I am a fan of Tom King's work in the comic book side of things. I am kind of curious to see how all three of them will blend their writing skill into making this work. But I think they got some really credible people working behind the scenes that can make this work.
Definitely.
Tony Robinson says we all know why everyone hates, because James Gunn is in charge. Kiki and Lucas says ultimately he will be judged on whether the show is good or not. And that's very true. So we'll see. We'll let the show speak for itself, but it's definitely been controversy heavy so far.
Yeah, my biggest hope is that like people actually give the show like a fair shot instead of, and if you don't like it in the end, that is totally fine. But like at least try and go in like with a fair shot instead of like ready to hate it. Because I mean, when you go into a show and you're ready to hate it, you're not going to like it, even if it ends up being exactly what you wanted out of it, you know? So I hope that people are willing to go into this with an open enough mind.
Yeah, absolutely. So from one comic book world to another, you know, like I don't know if people have read this series before. I feel like it's prominent enough though, because we at one point in time did get a live action iteration for it at one point. I don't necessarily think it did relatively well. But
no, because it was, man, this was it PlayStation 3 or 4. They had like their PlayStation Network streaming service,
right.
And that was supposed to be like the premiere show for it. But like, I don't think anyone gave a shit about streaming like PlayStation exclusive content.
Yeah, and the show that we're talking about is a comic book from the I believe independent comic book publisher Icon Comics, but the comic comic itself was Powers. It was written by Brian Michael Bendis, fresh off of his Spider-Man runs, Miles Morales. I mean, Brian Michael Bendis was at the top of the comic book industry for a really long period of time, and he co-created this series Powers with artist Michael Avon Omen. As you can see his art style from these images here. But they had a really great successful run for Powers, really great adult comic book. I was actually a really big fan of it. I ended up missing the live action series itself, but Powers is back in the news because it's getting a second chance. That's right. It's getting another opportunity here, but this time in animation form. Let's go ahead and bring this one up here. This comes to us from the Hollywood Reporter. Brian Michael Bendis superhero crime comic Powers getting adult animation treatment from Netflix and Dark Horse. This is an exclusive article from them. Their indie comic series currently published by Dark Horse Comics is getting the adult animated treatment. Netflix is developing an adult animated series adaptation of the long-running comic with Dark Horse Entertainment's Keith Goldberg and Chris Tung executive producing. The two creators are involved in the development, which is brilliant. Bendis is said to have is said to be writing the pilot, while Owen is participating in the visual development for the show. That's interesting. Combining the tropes of the superhero genre with police procedural genre, Powers follows two Chicago homicide detectives, Christian Walker and Dina Pilgrim. who work in cases involving superpowers. The title first launched independently, then was published by Image Comics in the early 2000s. It won an Eisner Award for Best New Series in 2021, with Bendis winning Best Writer in 2002 and 2003. The comic later moved to Icon, a short-lived Marvel imprint that put out creator-owned books at the height of Bendis's popular Ultimate Spider-Man run. Powers is now in the middle of a new limited series story tied to its 25th anniversary and published by Dark Horse. They do talk about the PlayStation Network live action series back in the mid 2010s. Adult animation has proven to be a big business for streaming services, and they reference the Invincible series as well in here. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to this, honestly. I was a big fan of Powers. It's not a series that I think I followed religiously, but I was always a big fan of Omin's art style. It really always kind of worked for me, and I was a big Brian Michael Bendis fan back in the early 2000s. I really loved a lot of his work, and he really was able to bring both of these detectives to light, seeing them kind of having to solve these mysteries as two. Well, I believe they started off as wait. I'm trying to remember. Christian Walker. I don't necessarily. I believe he was an ex superhero, if I'm not mistaken, like a retired superhero, and then eventually joined the force. If I'm not mistaken, it's been a long time since I've read Powers.
It was like if I remember correctly, he was the superhero who eventually lost his powers, but then kind of I believe he tries to find a way to get him back, but he can't, or something.
So it's so they have a really cool dynamic with each other. I don't know why it kind of reminds me of like I don't want to say Fox and Scully from X-Files or anything like that, but just the idea of them being two homicide detectives with superheroes out there that are, that kill people, and then, them trying to find out who these super villains are, people with these superpowers are, sort of thing. I was always a really big fan of the stuff that I did read from this series, and so a little bit bummed that the live action never kind of took off, but I do love the idea that this report does mention how popular sort of adult animation is these days. And I do think if they can kind of keep those same cool visuals that they did from the comic books, I mean, the fact that they said that the artist Omin is really working with the visual sort of production team is really inspiring and promising to me, in the sense that I'm kind of hoping that they stay sort of with that artistic element or artistic style from the comic books to really make this work. And if both of those two are involved, I have no doubt that the animation run will be a little bit more successful than what it was over on outside of its live action stuff. The only thing that does worry me, Stuart, I don't know why, I remember the Mark Miller stuff that we were supposed to get from Netflix and that whole cinematic universe. We had that, was it Jupiter Ascending or Jupiter's Legacy or whatever the fuck that show was that just never gained traction. I'm kind of hoping that this doesn't turn out to be one of those cases. I'm really hoping that maybe because this is animation, this will maybe give sort of Netflix's competition to Invincible and kind of gain that type of momentum. That's really what I'm hoping kind of comes out of this. But I think the story is there. I think the characters are there. It's just really about trying to adapt that to a streaming service to make it really compelling for people to stick around and keep watching. But I'm excited for this.
Yeah, I think the one, what was I gonna say? I think like the smart thing that they could do is definitely learn from what Invincible does right, and even hopefully be able to kind of correct some of the mistakes. Like I know that like one big thing that people complain about with the Amazon series Invincible is like the animation budget. So I'm wondering if Netflix will try to like one up in that area, and then hopefully in terms of writing, the two of them can kind of look at how Robert Kirkman approaches Invincible, which is the fact that he has so much perspective since he's written the original comic book that when it comes to the TV shows, there's a lot of changes that he likes to make to the actual show from his comic book run, because he thinks like years later in retrospect, maybe this didn't land the way I expected it to, or maybe I wasn't actually building up to anything as much as I thought I was with this, or maybe this was unnecessary, or maybe I should have, like, I think the biggest one was Conquest's dialogue, which wasn't even in the original comic book. So hopefully that's the kind of inspiration these guys take, is they look at their own work and as they're working on this series, they go, hey, we could have probably done this better. Let's try this. Something along those lines. As long as they don't like overcorrect, of course. That's when it becomes like a problem. Then it becomes like a product like you don't recognize. But I think because Invincible has like kind of dipped their toes in the water, making this kind of like comic book accurate, almost like the same way they've always done anime in Japan. When comparing the manga to the animes, they're a lot more. They follow the manga a lot more than cartoons in America tend to follow the comic books, and I think Invincible was like the first exception to that. I'm curious if Powers will also go into that direction, where it'll feel a lot more like you're watching a full-on adaptation of the comic books.
Yeah, I really hope so, just because of the fact that there is a lot of source material for them to certainly gain from. I mean, the fact that they're still doing limited series runs is a fascinating one to me. I wasn't quite sure if Powers was still an active comic book series or not, but it certainly seems that way. I mean, maybe it's something like if they got a couple stories they come back to every now and then. But yeah, it does surprise me to see that they're still going. So we'll see what the series itself comes out to look like. I don't believe that there was a developmental date, like a release date for it, but it just looks like it's currently in the works right now. But we'll definitely keep you guys posted as we get more development for that animated series. Tony Robinson says, sounds interesting. Yeah, I think it'll be a pretty interesting one. All right, guys. And with that story out of the way, let's move on to our next topic. As man, Stuart, the world of Buffy the Vampire Slayer is getting quite drama filled at the moment. This story is certainly not going away. Last week we talked about the idea that the Buffy Vampire Slayer revival was officially canceled, that the pilot itself was not well received, and in turn they were not going to be moving forward. Sarah Michelle Gellar even made an announcement last week letting people know that she had gotten the bad news, that they certainly weren't moving forward, despite having filmed the pilot episode. Hulu was not that impressed. So this week, Sarah Michelle Gellar is coming out and talking about what went wrong, trying to place the blame in certain areas. We even have other reports here too from other sources that are trying to give people sort of the insight in regards to why the series itself really failed. So it's all over the place. It feels very much like everybody's kind of pointing fingers, and it's not the prettiest sight out there, Stuart. But I thought it'd be worth certainly talking about here. So let's go ahead and dive into this article. Oh man, it's just not gonna reload for me now. Dang it. Okay, so this article doesn't want to pop up for me right now, but I will bring up another article real quick. What's up, Stuart?
All right, real quick though, while you're doing that, I will be right back.
No problem.
Yeah, I just gotta grab something.
Peg C says the cancellation of the Buffy the Vampire Slayer new Sunnydale reboot bears a striking resemblance to the 2020 Lizzie McGuire situation. I'm trying to see if this other article is going to pop up for me. It doesn't look like it. So this article, I will go ahead and pull up this other article in the meantime while this is working for me. There we go. This is from Variety. Inside Chloe Zhao's failed Buffy the Vampire Slayer reboot and Sarah Michelle Gellar's shockingly small screen time. So this kind of goes into the the details of the series itself. So let's dive in. It says the show is called New Sunnydale, but Buffy Annie Summers is barely in it. Rather than revolving around Sarah Michelle Gellar's Buffy, the shooting draft for the show's pilot episode, written by sisters Nora and Lila Zuckerman and obtained by Variety, introduces an entirely new set of characters and, crucially, a new Slayer, a 16-year-old high schooler named Nova, who was cast by as Ryan Kira Armstrong. In the Zuckerman's original draft of the pilot, Buffy appears only at the end in a tag. So even they are suggesting, based off of this, that Sarah Michelle Gellar's barely even in it. A close reading of the script, directed by Chloe Zhao, may give clues to why Hulu passed on the show, which has caused an ongoing uproar online from the Buffy faithful, eager to see their favorite character return to television. Sources tell Variety that Chloe Zhao's take on Buffy might not have been mainstream enough for Hulu, although that's been disputed by Gellar, who blamed an executive at the streamer for his lack of familiarity with the original material. Oh, I got Stewart back. Okay. I don't know how much of that you heard or not, but
I heard the bottom half of that, which was the fact that Sarah Michelle Gellar is saying that it was one specific executive who, honestly, like from the interviews that I had heard before, it sounded like he was already he already had made up his mind not to greenlight the show from beforehand. But yeah.
Yeah, this is inside the failed Buffy reboot. So according to them, it says the shooting draft for the pilot episode introduces an entirely new set of characters, a new Slayer, a 16-year-old. In the original draft of the pilot, they said that Buffy appears only at the end in a tag. And it says a close reading of the script, which has caused an ongoing uproar online from Buffy fans, are eager for the return to television. They also say sources tell Variety that Chloe Zhao's take on Buffy might not have been mainstream enough for Hulu, although that's been disputed by Gellar. But back to the pilot. Over the course of the script, Nova, described as a brainy introvert, discovers that she's a Slayer, and people in Sunnydale do know the mythology of what Slayers are because of what happened in their town. Set during a vampire weekend, a Renaissance fair-like celebration of the town's dubious history, Nova takes down 2 actual vampires after coming into her powers. By the episode's end, the formerly friendless Nova has a new Scooby-Doo gang flanking her, to use Buffy's terminology. The script drops hints about what's to come. Her dad, a photojournalist, is overly protective and has moved them around a lot after Nova was kidnapped as a young child. And all the vampires that Buffy buried in the show's 2003 series finale, when the Hellmouth collapsed in on itself, taking Sunnydale down with it, have been awakened. Nova would have her work cut out for her. Buffy has but one line in that original script. After the conclusion of the Sunnydale story, the action moves to a beautiful autumn day in New York City, when a woman in a pantsuit walks into the office building. She looks smart, professional, happy to be one of the many in the field of cubicles. Reading the stage directions, and her nameplate says Ann Summers. When one of her colleagues chides her, saying she wouldn't want to be late to the morning meeting, Buffy says, "Nope, wouldn't want that." Is that her only line in the show? Buffy happily is an anonymous drone in a cubicle, just living a normal person's life, given how conflicted she was about being the chosen one and bearing the burdens of it. As the show put it, that saving the world a lot, this life choice makes a certain kind of sense. But Buffy's peace wouldn't have lasted for long, because on her work computer, as she's in her morning meeting, her email inbox starts being flooded with insurance claims from Sunnydale. On paper, there's never been more of a slam dunk. Hulu has was reviving it back in let me see, somehow the stakeholders figure out how to do it without Whedon, yada yada yada. But on Saturday morning, Geller given the got the news. Yeah, that's interesting. I'm trying to see what else there's around this. So yeah, so she posted on Instagram that she was really sad to share that news, yada yada yada. Sources close to the show tell Variety that the pilot ultimately proved to be unsalvageable. The Zuckerman's recent rewrite, which featured more Buffy and a note to age the show up more, wasn't good enough. And Hulu's estimation to turn things around, given the high bar set by fans for such a revered franchise, executives at Hulu felt that it wasn't worth good money. It wasn't worth throwing good money after bad and pulled the plug. Since the pilot filmed last summer, the fan has been clamoring for updates. The principal had set a deadline to make decisions by the end of last week, which is why Geller had the unfortunate experience of being told the bad news. So the issues of the pilot seem to be manifold. Two sources told Variety that despite her love for the original series, Zhao proved to be a mismatch for the show, despite her winning 2 Oscars. 2 Oscars. She has helped other people win Oscars also. Those sources say Zoe's prodigious skills as a director didn't lend themselves to a television pilot that requires a lot of exposition. It was undershot and there wasn't any coverage, one source says, so there would have to be reshoots on the pilot anyway. The performance from the actors playing the new characters who need to make a strong impression as they're introduced were under-directed, the sources said. That sounds weird to me, to say that they're under-directed when she's literally directed people to Oscar performances before. Maybe it's the actors themselves. I don't know. That Armstrong has a very young appearance. She turned 16 on March 10th, contributed to the whole Enterprise playing too young. For Geller's part, though, both in the original post and in the People interview, she has aligned herself with Zhao, thanking her and adding that she got new insights into Buffy because of her. Yeah, that looks like that's pretty much it. So yeah, some people are calling this a hit piece on Chloe Zhao. Some people, some people are taking the fence. Sarah Michelle Gellar says that she hopes that the script itself doesn't leak online, even though it seems as though we've already got a little bit insight into what the leak what the script kind of says. Some people are saying Sarah doesn't want people to see the script because the script is incredibly weak. But even the article in here says, this should have been just like a given almost for this to be like a layup, to be quite successful. But unfortunate, Stuart, now that you hear some of the things kind of coming together. How are you feeling after hearing some of this as a Buffy fan?
Some of the things that they bring up, okay, so I can't obviously speak for the performances and the directing because we're not going to see what that actually would have looked like. However, it is weird because they want this, it sounds like, to like hook fans from the start, including the whole thing with Sarah showing up at the very end. And I just find that weird because TV has been made that way in a long time. And I was kind of under the assumption this wasn't going to be the typical like Buffy the Vampire Slayer run. Like, in other words, it wasn't going to have like its 22 episode seasons. I was kind of under the assumption each season was going to be like 10 episodes long. Therefore, it was going to feel like, much like modern television, more like one long movie, which means you don't need to hook people from the first episode. There are so many incredible streaming service shows out there that do not hook me at all from the first episode alone. Like, it's the thing about TV nowadays. It's like you don't have to have the pilot needs to set the vibe, it needs to set the move, but it never really needs to hook people the same way pilots used to. So to me, some of the complaints they made, I think, are really dumb. I think the idea of more Buffy was also really dumb because, like, again, this is kind of common with what you see in a lot of reboot TV shows. You see them especially if the main character from the original series isn't going to be the main character of the reboot, you usually want to like kind of hype up their return. So I mean, them waiting till the very end to reintroduce her and then adding more mystery into like how much she's going to play into the episode, I thought was kind of intriguing. Again, I can't speak for how it looks or the performances because obviously that stuff we don't know. But in terms of story, this sounds kind of what I was expecting, honestly. So it feels weird to see this getting turned down when it was like they gave you exactly what you would want from a Buffy reboot series. But yeah, that's just from what I hear, or that's just from, you know, this article. Those are my thoughts. So I still really want to see the pilot itself just so I can have like kind of a more like firm opinion. They were also mentioning there were some scenes that would have needed to be reshot because they just, you know, it sounds like the pilot didn't have like the full production that the series was going to have, in which I would say that was the exact case, you know, with the very first Buffy the Vampire Slayer pilot. Like, I think the pilot for Buffy, and I'm not talking about the first episode. I'm specifically talking about the pilot that was like 30 minutes long, had so many things like going against it. I think the only thing that worked for it was like the proof of concept aspect of it. Them showing off Sarah Michelle Gellar's performance as Buffy, them showing off the kind of effects that you can see, the kind of ways that the show would be filmed, you know, and it's very unique, kind of, you know, very dark, kind of noir aesthetic. But other than that, it was not a good pilot for the most part. So I think that like, the decision to not continue the show based on these weird nitpicks that they have, I don't know. Again, maybe if I actually saw the pilot, I would see where they were coming from. But I think it's just a mixture of that. And then hearing what Michelle Gellar said about one of the executives seemingly wanting to like already like not greenlight the show before makes me even wonder why they bothered letting him film the pilot to begin with if the executive was already dead set on not greenlighting the show.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm sure they had to have read the script also before they even greenlit the idea of filming a pilot for it. So if you're not necessarily the biggest fan of it, why even greenlight it in the to begin with? Kiki and Lucas say, shouldn't a Buffy show have a lot of Buffy screen time though? Reminds me of The Force Awakens with no Luke Skywalker. But at least I think with The Force Awakens though, while yes, I was bummed that we only got Luke towards the end of it. I do think it's very much under the impression that this is sort of, if it's a revival, especially, and you've got brand new characters, right? I think you want to make a good first impression for the new characters that you're going to be really focusing on. I don't, for me, look, this is somebody who maybe watched Buffy the Vampire Slayer in passing, and I'm nowhere near the fan that Stuart certainly is. I think for me, it would really come down to how good the script was in regards to introducing us to the main characters, because I do think if the main characters certainly succeed and you can get some emotional connection to them, if they've got reflections to the lore and the mythology of what's happened in Sunnydale. Maybe there are some references to vampires or even Buffy sort of name drops throughout the series or throughout the pilot itself, but it's still focusing on this new generation or this new Slayer. I'm kind of okay with that. And to kind of see how Buffy would play into the tag of things, in the sense of she's more than happy with living just a cubicle type of life, but then gets notifications in her email like, oh shit, something's happened in Sunnydale, that kind of thrusts her back into that world, maybe rather reluctantly. As like a cliffhanger to where you could go from this show. I think that sounds kind of promising, to be quite frank with you. I think it sounds kind of cool. But I think that only works if the script is good enough in regards to really landing these characters and making them feel like they can carry a show with Buffy as sort of like cameos, maybe in the potential future sort of thing. I am sure for some people that probably would ruffle some people's feathers, though. I mean, if you're going to call the show Buffy the Vampire Slayer still, even if it's New Sunnydale, I can understand the idea of wanting to see more Buffy. So in maybe some areas, people would have been a little bit bummed about that. I don't necessarily, we've talked about this before, Stuart, in regards to like Chloe Zhao when it comes to franchises. Like, I really don't know how to feel about Chloe Zhao on Buffy the Vampire Slayer, just because I haven't seen the pilot, so I don't know what she brings to the table. But I think she has a particular style that works for certain movies and for certain projects. I don't know if it works for everything. And I only say that because some of the big IP franchises, stuff that she has been a part of, like the Eternals and now Buffy the Vampire Slayer. And there was another one that I thought that she did that she was kind of getting hampered on also, that people weren't necessarily the biggest fans of. It just makes me think that like Chloe Zhao should just stay away from big IP at this point. Like I almost feel like people are like gunning for her, because you know I think Kiki and Lucas said, um, she did ask us, do you guys like Nomadland? I don't think I saw Nomadland or Hamnet. And think she did a good job on Eternals. I thought she did a good job on Eternals. I'm not going to say I love that movie. I do think the movie has its weaknesses, but I think she did a pretty good job in regards to working with a big ensemble cast. I think she got some really great performances, certainly out of everybody. Maybe the pacing, I think, for the movie is a little bit slower for me. But I almost feel like that's Chloe Zhao's kind of style, Hamnet, very slow movie, but performances just out of this world, right? So like when it says that she wasn't able to get some of the best performances out of her people, there's a part of me that's kind of hard to believe that, honestly, when she has helped people become Oscar nominees, Oscar winners. Ryan Kiernan Armstrong, she was no slouch in Skeleton Crew. I thought she actually did pretty good. I wouldn't be surprised if Chloe Zhao was able to actually make her maybe even a little bit better in here. So I do think Chloe Zhao's style is a little bit more slow paced, a little bit more artsy. So how she would go about doing a Buffy pilot, I would be interested to see that. I could see a world where her style doesn't necessarily match up with a pilot for a Buffy the Vampire Slayer, but I don't think it's in regards to performance wise. I think maybe it could be an issue with style wise, but it's just interesting because I don't want to sit here and say that makes her sound like a bad director, because I don't. I just think sometimes not everybody's style works for everything, Stuart. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think like for me, I don't think I've watched too many projects from Chloe Zhao, but I did really I liked Eternals a lot more than most people. I actually thought it was a pretty excellent film. But yeah, like I think it's just the not knowing that's getting to me. It's like I think it's just like having all these different or hearing like different reasons. So you get the exec side, you get Sarah Michelle Gellar's side. And I think it sucks that we'll never know.
In the middle somewhere.
Yeah, we'll never know what that middle is because we won't have access to that pilot. So I know that Sarah Michelle Gellar was saying she hopes that the script doesn't get leaked, but I kind of wanted to. I need to know what this, if this was like a good decision or not on the executive's part. Like personally, I'm leaning towards it wasn't, but that's also coming from a super biased place of someone who needs more Buffy. Yeah. I think it's also a shame too, because I just saw Ready or Not, Here I Come yesterday, and she was surprisingly like one of the highlights of that movie. She
Sarah?
doesn't,
Michelle
yeah,
uh-huh.
like she's of course like one of the antagonists, but she has like just one monologue where she actually gives like a really good performance in it.
Okay.
And it just made me go, damn, it sucks. We're not going to see her as Buffy more. Plus, I also really loved her in Dexter Origins, another show that we're not going to get to see more of her in, unfortunately.
Yeah, man, really unfortunate. I mean, look, even if in the Buffy pilot, you would have just gotten her in the last scene anyway, right? I mean, she couldn't have been doing too much anyway. But I am eager to see her in this Ready or Not too. I really am. But let us know your guys' thoughts, man. A lot of drama going on behind the scenes for Buffy the Vampire Slayer. How do you guys feel about it? It's definitely somewhere in the middle for sure. I just don't know if people are ready to quite own up to certain things, but we'll see how it turns out.
Yeah.
But moving on, we'll try and get to these next two relatively quickly here. This one I found interesting as the world of A Quiet Place is back in the news here. Stuart, get ready because we are headed for part 3. We're getting ourselves a sequel, baby. I don't know if A Quiet Place Part 3 had already previously been announced or if this is how they're announcing it, but we got some huge casting news as Emily Blunt and Cillian Murphy are actually closing deals to return for A Quiet Place Part 3. We also have the addition to Jack O'Connell, fresh off of 28 years later. Katie O'Brien and Jason Clarke are set to join the cast. I'm actually quite a big fan of all these actors in here. But we are returning to the world of Quiet Place Part 2. This has been a really fantastic franchise that's kind of grown from original to now about to have I guess technically this would be the conclusion of the trilogy, but we also have Day One, which was another phenomenal film. But we're going back to characters that we know and love here. So let's go ahead and dive into this article. This one comes to us from Deadline. Again, Emily Blunt and Cillian Murphy closing deals to return. John Krasinski is returning to write, produce, and direct, Stuart. He's doing all 3 in the latest installment. Paramount is setting a July 30th, 2027 release date. So it's a little bit over a year away. So with this casting news, I got to think that production is set to begin relatively soon. Krasinski made announcement Monday on his social media platform. He has everybody's name written all over the scripts here. Krasinski are producing the new film. Quiet Place franchise has grossed more than $900 million worldwide across its first 3 films. So yeah, if it's one, let me just say this real quick. I am really pleased that John Krasinski is coming back. I really loved his take on the first movie. I can't remember. I don't think he directed the second one, but I believe he might have written the second one, if I'm not mistaken. Regardless, he's been very connected as far as executive producer on all the Quiet Place movies. And I don't know if I've seen a bad one yet, Stuart. I might have liked the first one a little bit more than I liked the second one. I thought Day One was actually pretty good also. So I'm excited to see him get back into the driver's seat and start or finish something that he eventually officially started. And I think the cast is really strong. I am kind of curious where these characters find themselves after such a long time. I think that the departure from these characters, taking a step back and doing the Day One stuff and now revisiting, I think is a really genius plan to kind of let that main story kind of breathe a little bit. And I am kind of curious as to how much time has certainly passed, if the same amount of time has passed since we've last visited them, or if it's going to be something like an immediate story right after the events of Quiet Place Part 2. But I'm excited for this. I don't know if they have any other big plans for this IP after the third one, or if this is going to kind of come to a close. But all these names on here, I'm excited, and the return for John Krasinski for sure. Can't go wrong with this one.
Okay, cool. So he did write and direct A Quiet Place Part 2. He also
he wrote and direct Part 2.
Yeah, he was one of the 3 writers for Part 2. So I technically don't know. I guess we technically don't know how big of a part he had in writing the second movie because it was 1 out of 3. Then again, the same with the.
But he directed it.
Yeah, he directed it though, so I assume he had final say on everything. And then he has writing credit as well for A Quiet Place Day One, but again, it's between 3 other writers, so not too sure. But yeah, so
maybe maybe it was like a concept he pitched, and then they built upon it or something.
Yeah, it also could have been that he was like kind of a continuity editor to make sure, hey, just got to make sure it fits with my other 2 movies. But yeah, so it looks like the same writing team from the other movies are coming back with this, with, of course, John Krasinski directing again. Yeah, I really liked the first movie, but I got to be honest, I still haven't seen Part 2 or Day One yet. but they are on my
Oh,
list.
wow.
I
Okay.
will get around to them before part 3 comes out for sure. I really love just the way that movie was directed. The incredible sound design, utilizing complete silence in order to make even just the smallest sounds like suddenly keep you on the edge of your seat. And then, of course, performances were great. So, same team behind this. I look forward to seeing how they do.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to this too. Kiki and Lucas say love Quiet Place. Day one is underrated. Yeah, I might have to check it out again. But yeah, I was a big fan of Day One for sure. But yeah, let us know your guys' thoughts as part 3 for A Quiet Place is coming together with the release date of July 2027. So production should begin relatively soon. And last but not least, Stuart, fresh off the Oscars, Michael B. Jordan wind up winning Best Actor at the Oscars for playing 2 roles, or some people would even say 3 roles in the movie Sinners. But one project that Michael B. Jordan is now attached to that we've kind of talked about for quite some time is Miami Vice. He's had some people opposite of him kind of change as his partner. I believe it was originally supposed to be not Austin Butler. It was somebody. Oh, Glenn Powell, I think, was originally supposed to play opposite of him, but then Michael B. Jordan had some say in it, and they wind up switching to Austin Butler. I'm even hearing some rumors right now that Tom Cruise might even be the villain of this movie if things work out. I hope that report is true. I would love to see Tom Cruise in a Miami Vice movie, bro, playing opposite of Michael B. Jordan here. But Michael B. Jordan of Miami Vice is in the news here because now that he's won Best Actor, Stuart, there are reports behind the scenes that he's now asking for more money to be in this movie. And this is an interesting one to me here. This originally came from Jeff Schneider, the online insider source, who tends to be relatively ears close to the ground. But the story was picked up by the World of Real, I believe it's called. Is that what it's called? World of Real, yeah. Miami Vice reboot in Jeopardy? Question mark. Michael B. Jordan now demanding $18 million salary after Oscar win. A few days ago, I wondered how reports that Michael B. Jordan had yet to sign his deal to star in the Joseph Kosinski Miami Vice reboot might have something to do with winning an Oscar. The film is supposed to shoot this summer, but Jordan has been delaying making it official. Turns out, according to the Inch Snyder, Jordan's new rep, James Farrell, told him to wait until after the Oscars to finish negotiating. Wise decision. Jordan won the Golden Statue, and guess what? Now he's asking for more money. Jordan has now increased his salary demands for Miami Vice. He wants $18 million, according to a well-placed source. That would be around double the salary of his co-star Austin Butler would be getting. And if the rumors are true that the director wants Tom Cruise to play the villain role, then you have nearly $50 million of the budget going to just 3 actors. Is the Jordan worth $18 million? Maybe, maybe not. Hard to say. But his filmography does include Sinners, Black Panther, and 3 Creed movies. If I'm Universal or Kosinski, do I wait it out until next year? Jordan's already shot his next film, a Thomas Crown Affair remake. Yada, yada, yada. So, yeah, a big question. First, one of the things that I looked at, Stuart, last night was what is the average an A-list actor in Hollywood make for movies? And the answer that wound up coming back to me was between 15 to 20 million dollars. And that's not even like talking about like prestigious actors, maybe like in the Robert Downey Jr. role that gets like 20 million plus in anything that he wants, that he gets, you know what I mean? So the idea of Michael B. Jordan now kind of coming fresh off of winning an Oscar, to me, $18 million don't sound like much to me. But again, I'm not making a movie. I don't. It's always easy to talk about spending other people's money that you don't have, right? So, like, the idea of this certainly inflating a Miami Vice movie, I think, can certainly be worrisome, especially if you're going to be going like $50 million. But the fact that Michael B. Jordan has now won a Best Actor award, I think, does put him in a completely different category than, say, that of somebody like Austin Butler, who I don't believe has won an Oscar or anything like that. So the fact that he's now sort of like asking for more, like double of what Austin Butler is getting, I'm not even blinking an eye towards that, dude. Like, that doesn't even surprise me. Like, I am just a believer that when you win these type of awards, not to say that you shouldn't, not to say that you should automatically have the pick of the litter, like just pick whatever project that you want to be in, but I do think it forces people to have to recognize how good you certainly are in your field and be okay to demand more than what you were certainly getting before, right? Like, Ryan Coogler has built up a fantastic resume for himself, whether that be Fruitvale Station, Creed, the Black Panther movies. All his movies have really gotten some level of recognition and has gotten Ryan Coogler to the point to where he too is now an Academy Award winner. But he also approached Warner Brothers with this pitch for his own original movie in Sinners and walked away with a massive deal for himself that's unprecedented in Hollywood history, that people even question Warner Brothers, like, how could you possibly even make that deal with Ryan Coogler? And now Ryan Coogler is not only an Oscar winner, but his movie Sinners has won 4 Oscars. It's the concept of people like Ryan Coogler betting on themselves, asking for what they know they're worth, and being not afraid to put themselves out there and hopefully scoring a handsome reward. That has worked out for Ryan Coogler. And I think Michael B. Jordan has kind of seen that path that Ryan Coogler has also taken, and is now understanding his full worth of what he is as an actor and as a performer. Now, look, there are going to be some people out there going to be, oh, he wasn't that good in Sinners. It was just, he had a lot of momentum behind him. He wasn't better than Timothée Chalamet. Say what you will. I love Timothée Chalamet and Marty Supreme, to be quite fair with you. I think he probably should have won, but I predicted that Michael B. Jordan was going to win because I felt the momentum on his side. And the man literally played like 2 to 3 different roles in this movie. The movie is still my favorite movie of the year. Like, Michael B. Jordan played a significant part in that. So I got no problem with Michael B. Jordan, especially building the career that he certainly has for himself, not only winning an Oscar, but now feeling like he's in a place where he can. I don't want the fact that he says like demanding. I hate the way that people write articles sometimes. Like, no, I think he just recognizes what his worth is and where an Oscar win now puts him in regards to other actors in his industry. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. If I'm Joseph Kosinski and I'm fresh off of Top Gun Maverick, F1, which was brilliant. People still talk about how good F1 certainly was. It was nominated for Best Picture too, mind you. And you were to tell me I have the opportunity to have Austin Butler in the movie, I have the opportunity to have Michael B. Jordan in the movie, and I have the opportunity to have fucking Tom Cruise in my movie, and the budget is $50 million, I don't care. I don't care how much salary I need to pay. I want all 3 of those actors in my movie, because if you could make Miami Vice just like the coolest, sexiest, sort of like adrenaline pumping, like 80s Miami mixture of Top Gun and F1 vibes, bro, this movie can do bonkers at the box office, as I think people will come out to not only see those 3 actors, but also come out to see what Joseph Kosinski is willing to do again. And I think they're going to put butts in seats. I think everybody deserves the money that they're going to get for this movie, including Michael B. Jordan. Pay this man his $18 million, and let's get these cameras rolling in the summertime, Stuart.
Yeah. I mean, to me, I feel like most actors, get overpaid anyway. So it's like, if you're already going to be overpaying, you might as well just like go top dollar for the ones that are really going to bring in the box office revenue. So I think that him demanding $18 million, given how much we see, or sorry, not, yeah, you're right. The way they kind of phrase it, it does make actors come off as stubborn, but you know what I mean? It makes sense because he's going to give his name alone is going to add way more than 18 million to the movie itself. And I think that's what you got to look at when it comes to what actors demand salary is compared to how much your movie is going to make. The big question you got to ask yourself is, if I put this actor in this movie, is what their salary going to be worth what I'm going to get from it? So in the case of Michael B. Jordan, yeah, I think he's definitely an actor that's going to grab $18 million worth of audiences to go see this movie, especially with the director that we have, for it. So yeah, honestly, it seems seems very fair to me, fair in the grand scheme of things, I should say. Again, I think that if we're talking on the whole, as a whole, I think that most people in Hollywood are overpaid, and that money should go to the crew members and other people that help work on the movie as well. I don't think anyone needs to get paid more than $5 million for making a movie, but that's just my opinion. I think that money should be more. I'm not saying everyone should get an equal amount. Obviously, I think the top billed actors and directors should be getting paid the most. I just don't think the gap between, someone who operates a crane and someone who, is in front of the camera, I just don't think the gap should be $10 million between the two of them. But yeah, that being said, though, since that is the world that we currently live in, I think him asking for $18 million is totally fair.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's pretty fair, and I do think because of the momentum behind Michael B. Jordan right now and the excitement level that I think that he brings from people really wanting to support him and root for him, I think people would come out and see this movie. I think if Michael B. Jordan is attached to another project, I do think that people will be kind of curious. I'm not going to say that he's going to fill the seats just because of his name recognition alone, but I do think that he will put some level of butts in seats for sure, especially the combination of him and Austin Butler. I mean, some of the two sexiest men today. I can easily see people wanting to come out and support this movie for sure. So I say do it. I mean, Kiki and Lucas says I do think you need to keep Miami Vice budget low. Give Jordan money on the back end. I mean, that might be a possibility too, but I don't know. I don't think F1 or Top Gun Maverick were low budget movies, and I don't necessarily think Joseph Kosinski has any interest in doing a low budget movie. I think if he's gonna go all out for it, for sure. I'm talking the hottest cars on the market right now. Again, I don't even know if this is going to be taking place in the 80s or if this is current Miami time. But yeah, man, he's gonna direct the shit out of this movie, bro. I just know that he is.
Yeah, no, seeing what he does with F1 and Top Gun Maverick, he loves to go all out with the money. I think it's they're smart about how they budget their movies too, with those two in particular. And I could be wrong, but I'm going by kind of the history of how Hollywood has made these type of big scope films. But basically, usually when you're utilizing military equipment like they were in Top Gun Maverick, what's great about going that direction is oftentimes the military will pay for you to be able to use that stuff in your movie, as long as you do not portray the military in a negative light, basically. And then I think it was the same thing for F1. I'm sure F1 was more than happy to pay a lot of the costs when it came to some of the vehicles they were using when it came to the tracks, because those were actual tracks they used. So I'm assuming F1 probably paid for a good chunk of the F1 movie because they knew in the long run it was going to get more people to watch their program, get more people interested in cars as a whole. And even the general conception of, oh, you just have to be good at racing to drive. I think one thing that benefited F1 is that it gives people more insight into the strategies that go on into a simple race, and that it's not as simple as it may look as a viewer. So I think that that's the kind of he knows who to talk, or I don't know if it's him as a director director or if it's the producers he works with, but they tend to know who to talk to for getting the right budget that they need for their films. And that's why his movies tend to look incredible in scope. So I'm excited to see what he does with Miami Vice. My only concern, and I've brought this kind of thing up on the show before, is that I hope it's not like a thing where he has to make deals with like the Miami Police Department in order for the movie to give off a propaganda type feel. I don't think that'll be a factor in this movie, but it is technically a concern you could have.
Kiki and Luca do say the Michael Mann and Colin Farrell and Jamie Foxx movie bombed. Who wants this movie? Did you guys see the 2006 Miami Vice movie? I don't think I ever saw it, honestly.
I never even saw the show, the original series.
I've seen some episodes of the show, but no, I didn't see it. It was directed by Michael Mann, who also directed Collateral with Tom Cruise. He also directed the Ali movie with Will Smith. He was the director of Heat, which is pretty cool. The Last of the Mohicans. He had some great movies back in like the 80s and early 90s. But yeah, I haven't seen a lot of his most recent stuff after Miami Vice in regards to Michael Mann. As far as like who's asking for this, I really don't know who's asking for it, but I will say I think Joseph Kosinski at this point in time, like if his name is attached to something, if you tell me the director of Top Gun and F1 is doing a project, I'm gonna be there. And I only say that because while I missed out on Top Gun Maverick, the F1 experience for me is probably one of my coolest cinematic experiences of 2025 in regards to like really feeling engulfed in that world, and like I was actually in the cockpit of these Formula One racers. And if you have that type of person in it from a directing perspective that can make the fans or make the audience members feel immersed in this world and like they're living that experience, man, something like a Miami Vice, man, I might show up to the movies in some sunglasses and a white suit. You know what I'm saying? Like I would be really excited to kind of check out what they would do. So I don't know who's asking for the movie, but I do think once you start talking director and the cast involved, and look, Colin Farrell and Jamie Foxx are no slouch. I'm actually kind of surprised that movie bombed, but maybe it bombed because, you know, maybe it wasn't that good of a movie also. but I would hope that the Joseph Kosinski one would be a little bit better.
Yeah.
Tony says, I think it should be a modern day Miami because I'm getting a little burnt out on period pieces. Fair enough.
Plus, I mean, if they're doing that, then you have like the whole, basically for writing a script, you could just look up random Florida man memes.
And you doing something modern too, I think would be like from a car perspective, I think would be really dope. I would love to see like more modernized cars on the streets of Miami during this time period. So we'll see, man. We'll see. But Michael B. Jordan, go get that money, man. Go get that money. But let us know your guys' thoughts in the comment section box below. And with that, Stuart, that will do it for all of our main topics today. But I do think you know what time it is.
I do indeed. And now, everybody, it is time for live viewer questions. Oh, you are muted.
Every time for live viewer questions, it does that. It doesn't do that for honorable mentions. It doesn't do that when I bring up the intro video, nothing. But live viewer questions, let's just pause this, dude. I don't get it. Let me go ahead and pull this up. So we're going to get into our live viewer question portion of the show. For those of you who don't know, every Saturday afternoon or Saturday evening, I will post a live viewer question over on our YouTube page. How do you submit a live viewer question? I'm so glad that you asked. Go over to our A+ Hero Report YouTube channel. Click on this post tab that you see right here. And voila. Saturday evening, I posted live viewer questions. Let's go ahead and get into it. Looks like we got 7 comments today. So let's make the best of these. AJ, the Morphing Grid in the house today. Appreciate you coming through, AJ. Always a chance. Return of Rocky DeSantos instead of Adam Park. If Rocky DeSantos had returned in always a chance to mentor TJ Johnson. The episode would have centered on their shared experience as Red Rangers who stepped into massive shadows of legendary predecessors. Oh, that's very true. By drawing on his past insecurities regarding Jason's return in Zeo, Rocky could have provided a unique perspective on the weight of the mantle while risking his life to morph with the damaged Tyrannosaurus power morpher. Rocky's return would have also been a proper closure to Rocky's abrupt departure in Turbo, a Power Ranger movie. Considering Rocky and TJ lacked the established mentor-student bond shared by Adam and Carlos, would this narrative shift have successfully redeemed Rocky's legacy in the eyes of fans? First off, I love that idea of like Rocky and TJ having like just that conversation of having to have replaced legendary predecessors. I don't know if they've ever had that conversation before in Power Rangers, but I kind of want it now. I don't know if it would have redeemed Rocky's legacy in the eyes of fans. What do you think, though?
I think just honestly giving us anything would have been enough to kind of I don't know if redeem Rocky is the way I would have phrased it, but it would have given like at least some closure to his character. Because yeah, I do think that like that was like part of the problem of when they introduced him, is that it was before Power Rangers really was comfortable diving deep into like character development, because I feel like there was such a good story there about him basically being a Red Ranger, which is usually like this important symbol of leadership, but still happened to take orders from someone else who was there, you know, before him. And these kind of things would have been cool to hear his perspective on, but we never really do. And then of course the fact that he lost his place as a Ranger because he had a really dumb accident, you know, that's something that I personally would probably beat myself up about over and over, but we never get a moment like that with Rocky. So it would have been cool. And I get why we didn't get it in Once and Always, because obviously, you know, he wasn't like the main focus of that. But yeah, it would be kind of cool if we ever got Rocky back in a future Power Rangers adaptation. I would love to see like his perspective on his role in the team and how he thought of it, you know. I think the closest we get, it was from that oh god, what was that called? It was the Power Ranger fan, or I don't even want to call it a fan film because it was made by, I don't think the people who made it were fans. I think they just had like a generic idea of what Power Rangers was, but it was like that kind of gritty reboot of Power Rangers.
Yeah.
With quite a bunch of big name actors.
Yeah, the guy that just passed too from Dawson's Creek. Damn, why am I blanking on his name now?
Yeah, but I think that's like the only time you kind of get like a reference to him like never feeling like part of the team. Although it was a lot more mean-spirited in the fan film, because then it was just like, you were never really one of us.
James Vanderbeek. Oh man.
Yeah, that's right. I forgot he was the one that played Rocky.
Yeah, rest in peace, James Vanderbeek. Always a Power Ranger in our heart.
Yeah. But you know, that all to be said, I think there is a really cool like deep dive you can do into the character that they unfortunately just never got around to in the show.
You know, speaking of people that have passed away, didn't somebody from Buffy just pass too?
Oh yeah, the actor that played Xander passed away as well.
Yes, really unfortunate stuff, man. Been a brutal week. We just lost Chuck Norris too, according to Peg C here. Nicholas Brendan was the other guy, who played Xander from Buffy. What are some of your Chuck Norris memories, and how familiar were you with Nicholas Brendan's character Xander? I remember seeing him, but I never really watched Buffy enough to understand his impact. The Chuck Norris moment that just lives memory for me is him going up against Bruce Lee. I've watched that. I've watched that damn thing so many times. It's pretty ridiculous. And you know, I never, as big as Texas Walker Ranger was, I never watched it religiously. But sometimes I believe it might have like come on before Star Trek Voyager back in the day on like UPN and stuff. Like I just remember being part of like a transition to another show that I would always watch. So I would like tune in to like the last 15 or 20 minutes of a Texas Walker episode. Sometimes it would just be on and I would catch an episode here or there. But it's usually always wrapping up a story before I would get into my show. But yeah, the Chuck Norris memory is usually just the Bruce Lee memory that I'm always very fond of. And I just remember I think Bruce grabbed his chest hair. hair off and like it's just
and then just like
laugh every time. Just blows it. Yeah. Just makes me laugh every time. But he's just a legend, dude. Just a legend.
mhm.
Let's see here. Tony Robinson says if Walker was on, I knew I missed Power Rangers. That's when you turn the TV on and Walker's on. You're like, damn it, I missed my show. Yeah. Deadline reports that Netflix sets documentary partnership with Warner Music Group, where Warner Music Group and Netflix have set an exclusive multi-year first look deal that will see the streamer make documentary series and films exploring the lives, music, and legacies of WMG's artists and songwriters, past and present. That sounds pretty cool. I mean, I do like a cool documentary, especially in regards to musicians. As long as they're true to the lives that the musicians live, that's fine. But I kind of dig that. I'm open to it.
Yeah.
A spin-off series for Goju Polar from number 1 Sentai Gojuger has officially been announced, titled number 1 Sentai Gojuger Polar Beginning. It is a prequel that explores the origins of Mashiro Kumari and his past as a former champion of the Interstellar Thon contest. Not Thong contest, but Thon contest, ring fighting competition, and it will stream exclusively on the Toei Tokusatsu fan club April 19th, 2026. Interesting. It does make this is a spin-off series. I always felt like anything that streams exclusively on the Toei Tokusatsu fan club tends to be limited series, maybe with like 2, 3, maybe 4 episodes. So I am kind of curious as to what the format of this show is certainly going to be. It's kind of cool that it's being as a prequel kind of spin-off series in that regards. At least to some extent, Super Sentai isn't fully dead, but I do wonder if this kind of fits into the overall Project Red kind of scheme of things in regards to how Toei plans on doing things kind of going forward. But I've always been a fan of anything that Toei Tokusatsu fan club tends to release. But when you said that, I immediately thought to myself, maybe this is like a limited series, but it's cool that they're still sticking with Super Sentai in some capacity.
Yeah.
Let's see. Blossom. If you guys were to write for Marvel Comics, which hero would you write for and why?
Ooh, that's a good one. Actually, I'm gonna let you answer this one first.
God. All right, don't ask me what storyline I would go with because I have no freaking clue. But if there were any comics I would love to write for, it would definitely be Spider-Man, and it would definitely be the Avengers because I think those are just two of my favorites. While it's just interesting to me, like when it comes to the Avengers, I don't know, with the exception of maybe Captain America on it. Like I'm really weird in the sense that like I'm very selective about the runs of comic books that I get. So like there may be a new run of Iron Man I'll pick up, or there maybe is a new run of Captain America I'll pick up. Usually not at the same time though. Like every once in a while I'll jump on board a Thor run or Captain America run or Iron Man. But you tell me Avengers, the fact that it's just so easily accessible to have all of them usually there. I do love a great team book. And I think having all those figures as a part of the Avengers is something that I would love to write. I just love them as a team, whether that be, I don't know what my lineup would be. I probably would be more traditional in the sense of give me Captain America, give me Thor, give me Iron Man, give me Black Widow, Vision, Scarlet Witch, and Quicksilver. That would be my team of 8 immediately, would be right off the top of my head of the people that I would certainly love to have on board with my team. So that's probably who I would write. So yeah, Spider-Man also just because I think the wonderful thing about Spider-Man is people can just say like Spider-Man is me, like he lives that everyday person life so well that I think people can relate to a lot of his struggles without the superhero aspect of things. So yeah, Spider-Man would be another person I would write. Spider-Man and an Avengers comic would be the two.
Ooh. If I have to choose only one of them, I guess I'll go with Nico Minoru from Runaways. Personally, I would
Ooh.
rather do the entire Runaways. Like
Yeah,
if
but
I was
saying
writing
all of
like
Runaways? Okay.
yeah, I would want to do a Runaways run. Although that being said, I would definitely need to reread the series and catch up because I'm sure there's a lot that's happened since the last time I read it. But yeah, Runaways would be my choice. But if I could only do one, probably Nico.
Nice. I like it. She also asks if you guys had a transformation device from any Toku series made through Toei and or Saban, which one would you use and why? For me, it's a toss between the Tokuger Change, the Imagimorphers, and the Senkai Sword Driver, possibly the Beetle Bonder. If you could go, if you can, if I go to pick from Saban. So, which transformation device from any Toku series made through Toei and or Saban would you use and why?
Oh man, mine. I know I'm gonna get some shit for this one because everyone talks about how stupid they are, but I love the sunglasses, from
Bro.
Double Fury. So that would probably be my choice.
Okay. I dig it. I was gonna go the Go Busters route, where I think it's like the gun that has the visors, and then the visors like come onto you, I believe, or is it the wrist? I think it's the wrist that has the opens up the
Yeah, it opens
visors,
it up.
right?
At least that's how it was in Beast Morphers. It opens it up, and then the visors go onto the face.
Yeah, dude, totally. Go Busters all day. Let's see. Marcelino's got a couple questions. I appreciate you coming through, Marcelino, as always. With the last Ronin movie being confirmed to be a continuation of the 90s TMNT show, how would they address the 2009 animated movie? Because that movie was also a continuation of the 90s live action movies and ended with a hint at Shredder returning.
The same way all the Terminator movies address Terminator 3 and all the other sequels, which is they just don't
talk
it
about
canon.
it. Yeah.
I assumed if they made The Last Ronin, they wouldn't have considered TMNT to be canon. Honestly, it wasn't even until like this year, like at some point during the podcast, where I found out that was supposed to be in continuity with those movies. I always thought like TMNT was like in its own world. I didn't even know it was connected to the live action movies.
Yeah, I didn't know either, but I think they probably would have handled it just as you said, just completely forget about it, just not even recognize it, and just do their own thing.
Yeah.
What was your favorite role that Zach McGowan played? My favorite was Roan from the 100 and Charles Vane from Black Sails. I also think he would have made for a great Kraven the Hunter. Kraven the Hunter, I could totally see. I really had no idea who this guy is, if I'm being honest with you. But looking at his image here, yeah, dude, he would have made a great looking Kraven the Hunter for sure. Why not? He looks familiar. Like I feel like I've seen this dude in something before, but I don't know what I would have seen him in.
Is it spelled Z-A-C-K or Z-A-C-H?
Z-A-C-H. I'm trying to look at some of his Dracula Untold. I didn't see that. He was in Terminator Salvation, huh? He was also in the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. series as Anton Ivanov. Oh, he's also in Gen V 2 episodes as Dognot.
Okay, here we go. Zach McGowan. Here we are. What have I seen him
dude,
in?
I don't think I've seen him in anything. He looks super familiar to me, but I honestly don't think I've seen a single thing that he's been in.
So I've seen him in Dracula Untold. Oh, he was in The Walking Dead. He played a character named Justin. Which one was I don't remember which one Justin was. Wait a minute. Anton Ivanov. Damn it. Why is IMDb not giving me any images?
Let me see if I can Agents of Shield. Oh yeah, I don't even recognize this dude, honestly. Yeah, I can't really answer this question, Marcelino. I'm not familiar with him at all. He's got a great look to him though.
Yeah, I'll say like it's funny. I think I've seen him in a lot of because like I've seen a lot of these movies on his IMDb page, but the problem is like he's always like kind of a smaller role in a lot of these movies that I've seen.
Yeah.
So like even in The Walking Dead and even in Dracula Untold and Agents of Shield, I can't remember too well like the part that he played in those. I gotta rewatch Agents of Shield at some point. It has been way too long.
Yeah, I was just thinking about that. There's some seasons of Agents of Shield I didn't finish watching, and I just recently saw a picture of Simu Liu and Chloe Bennett together on Twitter, and somebody was talking about like first Asian superheroes in Marvel or something like that, and it just made me think of Agents of Shield for sure. Marcelino says, you guys say that people should not make judgments on stuff that hasn't come out yet, such as Lanterns being too grounded or Supergirl not being perfect. But here's something that I noticed with the anti-woke grifters. Those are the same exact arguments they make whenever they make their movies or comics. They say people unfairly judge their product without even giving it a chance to speak for itself. Eric July constantly says that people make preconceived assumptions about his comics before giving them the chance. Whenever the Daily Wire makes movies, they always say they get bombarded constantly by people who say that their movies are bad without even giving them a chance to watch them. What are your thoughts?
I mean, I can't speak for the Eric July or any of those other content creators. There was another one though. I remember it was because unfortunately I actually watched his videos earlier, or like when he started becoming famous on YouTube, before I realized how much of a misogynist he kind of was. God, what was his name? Something. He's this guy that always dresses up as like kind of a knight in his videos, and he wrote like this whole book and he claims that everyone who shits on his book hasn't actually read his book. So he's like another one that's kind of like that in that category. But when it comes to the Daily Wire stuff, I have not seen any of their movies, but I have watched reviews of their movies from YouTubers that I've seen other reviews from them with movies that I've watched. So I can definitely tell from the way they've reviewed those movies and from the way they talk about other movies that I have seen that it does seem like they're giving it the fair review. At least that's what it looks like from my perspective. But of course, I know it may come off as me saying that I'm just judging the movies before giving them a chance, but in this particular case, it's just that I have no interest in them. I know what they're about, and that premise does not hook me. I think there's like a difference between prejudging, saying something's going to suck, compared to just saying that the premise of what you're being presented with just doesn't interest you. And in the particular case of these content creators, yes, I'm sure that if I actually watched it, I would probably hate their products because I disagree with their, opinions and stuff like that. But that's not the reason I'm not watching it. I'm not watching it because the premise of what they have doesn't interest me as a viewer.
That's fair enough. Yeah, I will. I would agree with you there, Stuart. My friends call me Joseph. What do you think of the actor Tyler Perry owning and living in his own zip code in Atlanta, where he has a huge backlot of actual houses that he had built for his films and shows, including an 80% exact replica of the White House? He sometimes lets not only fellow actors work and live there, but also who lost their home during catastrophic disasters. Really? he lives in his own zip code in Atlanta. That's a thing, quote unquote.
Yeah, I mean, like, it's so cool. I actually watched this 4 hour, I think it was like over 4 hour documentary about Tyler Perry recently. And it's like it kind of highlights some of the good and the bad about him. Like, one of them is the fact that, yeah, he'll do kind of things like that, but also doesn't hide away from the fact that he is a bit of a hack. He doesn't really put much effort into his movies. They're just there because, like, they're easy money for him. And the big thing on top of all that is that he overworks and underpays like a lot of his actors. But it was a really informative, really cool documentary because, like, on the one hand, there's like all that, but then there's also kind of the fact that he touches a audience that basically kind of goes unlooked at, like gets completely ignored by like Hollywood. So it's like there's so many ups and downs to like him as a businessman, essentially. But very interesting documentary. Definitely recommend checking it out. But hearing that he has his own zip code, and considering how much money he has, I think this is like the third richest man in Hollywood. Doesn't surprise me. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, it says here too. They Paramount just officially brought out Tyler Perry's estimated 25% minority stake in BET Plus streaming service. As of March, the BET Plus platform will be phased out, and its content, including numerous Perry-produced shows, will merge into Paramount Plus. While his ownership stake has been sold, Perry continues to be a partner with an active long-term content production deal through 2028. So he just made a ton of money selling his minority stake on BET. Also continues to get richer, man.
I always think of the Boondocks episode where it was like Huey wants like BET to like completely end. So he's like, I'm going on a hunger strike and I will not stop until the CEOs decide to finally dismantle BET and then kill themselves.
We got Jessica Fryman. Would you like to see a TMNT animated series with the female turtle for the next mutation? And what are your thoughts on the cast of the Scooby-Doo series? But for the Scooby-Doo series, at least when it comes to the cast, I'm a big fan of McKenna Grace, so I love the idea of her as Daphne. I think she's going to crush that role. I don't really know the other names, though. I don't know if they're like just newcomers, if they've been in other television series before or not, but I'm open to the idea of seeing what they could potentially do. As far as the TMNT animated series, oh man, I don't know if I want a female turtle in there. I think the return of a female turtle would just bring back bad memories for people at this point.
I think that if they went with the one from the comic book, fans would have a better reaction. I think the problem is that Venus like literally only existed so that like the turtles could have like a love interest.
So there is a female one in the comics, like officially.
Yeah, there is one. I don't remember her name in the comic books, but it's not Venus, and she's completely separated. It has nothing to do with the next mutation. And from what I understand, she's not even like an active member of the team. She just like kind of works on her own, and they occasionally cross paths.
Okay, if there is something in comics lore for a female turtle, and she's used correctly, I mean, look, especially if it's something that's being executive produced by like, is it Mike Eastman, the creator of the TMNT or co-creator of TMA Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Eastman. If they're on board and they were to bring a female turtle in, I'd be open to it.
Yeah.
Let's see here, and then last but not least, Tony Robinson in the house. Since Hasbro and 21st Century Studios are still cooking with Power Rangers, what theme do you guys really want to see them tackle?
Like themes as in stories, or themes as in kind of like in terms of like the suit designs?
Oh, I see what you mean. What theme do you want to see them tackle? I wasn't thinking suit designs, but I'm under the impression that they were definitely going to tackle MMPR just in a new look form. I don't know if it's going to be like, I would assume it's still dinosaur theme, unless it's like cosmic power theme now. But if we're talking like, this is an arc that I doubt that Power Rangers has ever explored. I just can't remember off the top of my head. I would not. I have we had a substance abuse storyline in Power Rangers before?
Man, you know what's funny is we haven't. Not even like that's so weird because I think there is a way you could do a substance abuse episode without actually using drugs. So surprisingly, I don't think they have.
That's what I was thinking too. I was just thinking to myself, like, I can see if they maybe did something like that, but just not utilizing drugs. But I legit want to see I really want to see a Power Ranger struggle with something on an adult kind of level, like a substance abuse. I the idea of having to balance your abuse along with being a superhero and trying to find some sort of redeeming arc or quality for a character, I think would be really powerful. And I really want to. I really want to see it. For some reason, my head always goes back to the comic books of Green Arrow and Speedy, you know, when he dealt with his abuse. And I don't necessarily know if the Arrowverse did that as well as I would have liked to have seen it. But I do think there is something powerful in regards to a storyline of a hero struggling with things that everyday person certainly can in regards to forms of addiction and finding their way kind of out of it and redeeming themselves. I think it would be a really great Power Ranger story. So that's one thing I would like to see for at least one character. But if we're talking like themes for costumes and stuff, I think they're probably going to do like the dinosaurs or cosmic powers or something like that.
Yeah, I'm with you on the dinosaur themes in terms of like aesthetics, but yeah, I also mental health would be great as well.
Yeah.
I love the idea of substance abuse. I want to, as much as I love Bulk and Skull, they are like some of my favorite characters in the entire series. I would love them to do like actual bullies, like ones that like you are actually disturbed every time they come back on screen. And then like the thing that makes it even worse with them is the fact that, you know, our main characters could like put them in their place at any time, but they don't because they know it'd be an irresponsible use of their powers. Very similar to like kind of earlier Spider-Man comic books between Peter Parker and Flash Thompson. I would love to see kind of a dynamic like that. You know, but like, yeah, have these bullies feel more like kind of, which they kind of did in the Power Rangers reboot movie, actually. I think like in terms of with one of the guys that was like just like a total asshole to Billy for no reason, and then like I wouldn't quite call Kimberly's friends bullies because I mean they did kind of have a good reason to be pissed off at her, so I wouldn't call them bullies, but I will say like the dynamic and how they kind of like argued with each other very much felt like something you could utilize. So that's what I would like to see, like more grounded, realistic bullies, and then just have the frustration be that, you know, that these heroes could like shut them up at any moment, but they don't, and have that be like another obstacle. So that's another theme I would love to see.
I dig it. Oh, Peg C, going back to the TMNT one, Jenica is the female turtle in the comics. Thanks for bringing that up. I don't think I've ever seen her before. Jenica, TMNT. Let me see if
Does that name come from a Renaissance painter as well?
The fifth turtle. She looks kind of badass. I'm not gonna lie. She's got like a Wolverine claws and shit as her weapons. That's dope. I love it. Tony Robinson also says, do you guys feel Marvel and DC should release animated movies in theaters?
I've thought that for the longest time, honestly. The only one we've gotten was the Killing Joke for like a limited release, and then before that there was Mask of the Phantasm. But there were a lot of other animated DC movies that I feel like could have actually worked pretty well in theaters. So yeah, I definitely think so.
Yeah, I mean, I've never been that impressed with Marvel animation stuff, honestly, movie wise. But like the DC's run of things, like I don't know why their movies don't go to theaters. I mean, you know, I don't know what the budget is to make those movies. Maybe the distribution costs and then the marketing behind it. Maybe it's not necessarily worth it. Maybe they don't feel like they would get their return back that they feel because of the money they would have to spend to kind of put it in so many theaters and stuff. But I think the quality certainly is there. You know, I think of things like the Lord of the Rings animated movie that we just had, which I was a big fan of, but I don't think anybody really went to go see it, and it wound up flopping at the box office, but the quality was certainly there. So I am curious with Marvel and DC if it's if it's just not cost effective to release them in theaters. But otherwise, DC, anytime they had an animated film, yeah, man, release that shit. Make it a Fathom event or something.
Yeah, because that's what they did with the Killing Joke, and I don't know, the theater I saw Killing Joke in was pretty packed. So I think that if they, as long as the releases were like sparing and not you're not like releasing every single animated movie in theaters, I think you could get an audience.
Yeah, I think so too. With this being a packed year and this is the last question, with this being a packed year for movies, do you think Supergirl, Clayface, Spider-Man, and Avengers Doomsday will all be able to do well? Brand New Day, Doomsday, absolutely. That's a no-brainer for me right now. Both billion-dollar films. Supergirl and Clayface. I will say, as successful as Superman was, I still think that there is a proving ground for DC studio movies. I am curious what the budget of Supergirl is certainly going to be. I need to see more from Supergirl before I feel super confident about it. I mean, I am looking forward to it. Don't get me wrong, I am. I love Millie Cock in this role just based off of the small amount that I've seen her in. Greg Gillespie is a really enjoyable director also. I am curious as to how this is all going to come together. To be fair, I am one of those people that did not get the opportunity to read the Woman of Tomorrow sort of trade. So, I don't know if I'm doing myself a disservice or if I am blessing myself to have nothing to really compare it to going into Supergirl. So I can kind of view it with, with fresh eyes. I am curious as to if it will do as well as Superman, if not more or worse, and if that will be acceptable for DC studios, or if they're expecting Supergirl to do better just because of what Superman did. I don't know if that's a fair assessment though for Supergirl, just based off of, I don't want to say name recognition, but level of popularity. But maybe they'll prove me wrong. I mean, this summer they do plan on making it a summer of Supergirl, whether that be from a DC comic books perspective, also just marketing wise. As long as the marketing campaign for Supergirl really starts to tick up when it needs to and drop some really compelling trailers, then I might feel a little bit safer about Supergirl. But I am I don't want to say I'm concerned, but I could see a scenario where it doesn't make as much of box office money as Superman, but may actually end up being a better story than Superman, but people maybe just don't go out to see it as much. So I think Supergirl's in a weird position. So I'm kind of hesitant on that. Clayface, I think, is one of those movies that is not going to explode the box office, but it will probably earn 3 or 4 times its budget. That will just financially it'll be successful. I think it'll be an enjoyable film. I don't think it's gonna make $300 million at the box office, but if this movie off of a $40 or $50 million budget can come back with 250 or just barely breaking 300 million, I think they would be really happy with that. I mean, hell, even if this movie just makes $200 million, I think that they would be really happy with Clayface, to be quite frank with you. So I think Clayface, Brand New Day, and Doomsday will do incredibly well. Supergirl, I'm still out on undecided right now.
I think at the very least, I'm pretty sure every single one of them are going to, including Supergirl, at least make their money back. With Supergirl and Doomsday, those two in particular, I don't know if they're going to be the highest grossing movies. With Supergirl, because, again, new somewhat new IP. Like I know we had a tease for her in the previous Superman movie. So but I don't think she has like quite the name value as Superman. So I'm not sure how many tickets that's going to bring in, but I think it'll be enough to break even. Doomsday, though, I'm not sure, only because of how huge this budget is going to be, and because we haven't really gotten a lot of we've gotten a little bit of buzz with the nerds, of course, with us that like kind of keep up with the trailers. There's hype there, but I don't know how much hype there is with Avengers Doomsday when it comes to a general audience, at least not at the moment.
I think general audiences are going to show up. I don't know if the trepidatiousness that people have towards Doomsday and the Russo brothers that we see as film fans online really equate to general audience members feeling the same way. I think you say Avengers films and you highlight Chris Evans and Robert Downey Jr. and I think people are like, fuck yes, let's go. Like the Avengers are back, baby. So I think Doomsday is a safe bet. But that's just me personally. You're right. The budget for this movie is probably outlandish in the sense of having to make like Avatar 3 type of money. But I think this movie is equipped to do that. If the movie is good. Let me just say that. If the script is there and it sticks its landing, I think this movie will do bonkers numbers. But we'll see. You don't think it's going to be the most grossing out of the 3 though?
No, I don't think so, at least at the moment. I think it might have the biggest box opening weekend though.
But overall grossing, you think like when their run is over, you think Spider-Man Brand New Day are probably going to make the most,
Between
make more
all
than
of them,
Doomsday?
Yeah. I think Spider-Man's going to make the most out of all of them.
Nice. I mean, look, No Way Home was almost a $2 billion film. I mean, I guess I can't say you can only go up from here because we have seen things go backwards before, but it is in a really good position, I think. And I just don't know if the ups and downs of the MCU, there's a part of me that wants to think that like the Avenger movies are almost immune to those things. Like there's a part of me that feels like Avengers kind of stands on its own in the sense of people are there for everybody coming together in the main story that it's kind of focusing on, to where I don't necessarily know if people are going to be like, Avengers? No, I'm not gonna see Avengers. Like that sounds crazy to me. Just the thing, you're gonna go see Avengers? Nah, man, I'm gonna skip that. What? Like that just sounds crazy to me that anybody would skip an Avengers movie, regardless of how the MCU has certainly has its fair share of ups and downs. So I almost feel like Avengers is almost immune to the rest of the MCU.
That makes sense.
That's just me though. That's just how I feel.
Yeah.
But yeah, guys, thank you so much for all of your wonderful live viewer questions, as always. Peg C goes on to say that the 3-part Crisis on Earths movie should have been in theaters for DC. I do wonder if like maybe they don't look at it the same because maybe like production quality, like when I think of I was going to say Marvel animated stuff. I guess the first thing that comes to mind is more Sony animation, which is like Into the Spider-Verse. Like those movies are like completely different production costs than anything that the DC animated movies certainly do. But I think you can kind of get away with that style on a big screen.
Yeah.
But yeah, guys, let us know your thoughts. But yeah, thank you everybody that submitted any live viewer questions for us today. We certainly do appreciate it, especially on this longer than normal episode of Hero Report. So thank you guys, everybody, for certainly tuning in and sticking around for most of the show. We really appreciate it. Tony also says, I feel general audiences who only watch Avengers film will be confused going into Doomsday.
Ooh, probably.
Probably. You're not wrong in that regards. There is probably some heavy lifting that has to be done here. And I think it's definitely definitely to the detriment, but We'll see. I don't know, man. I still think Avengers can withstand it, but I don't think that this, in the sense of the joke I just had of like you can only go up from here. Like, no, that's not really true. I mean, the Endgame made so much damn money. I don't think you can replicate that. But similar to that of like, can you pull up the box office for Avenger movies for me real quick, Stuart?
Yes.
Let me know how much the Avenger movies have made, because I can only assume that they've just gotten bigger and bigger and bigger with each release.
All right. Almost there. Trying to get all 4 of them up so I have an answer for all 4.
You should be able to go just Avengers at Box Office Mojo. I would think that they would have all 4 of them up there, but maybe not.
All right, almost just one more. And then all right, cool. All right, so Avengers. The Avengers, okay, here we go. One made $1.5 billion. Age of Ultron made $1.4 billion.
Oh, so it went backwards. Okay.
Yeah, but only a tiny bit. Which they more than made up for with Infinity War making $2.048 billion.
2.04? Okay.
Yeah, 04. But oh boy, this jump though is huge because Avengers Endgame made $2.7 billion.
Golly. This is a scenario where I think Avengers Doomsday will probably make about 1.8. I don't know if it makes Infinity War money. To be fair, I think Infinity War has had a couple of re-releases too, to help it get over that $2 billion mark originally, if I'm not mistaken. But like even for that, I mean, I might say like $1.8 billion, and people would be like, "Oh, it's a flop." It's a flop. But no, I think if this movie makes like anywhere between 1.5 and 1.8, I think the studio will be. I think they should be happy with that, based off of how their MCU has certainly gone, and the fact that they can still break $1 billion for an Avengers movie. I think it's got to be key. So I think it'll do better than Age of Ultron and the first Avengers movie. I don't know if it's going to break Infinity War numbers. I don't necessarily think that it certainly has to, but Kiki and Lucas says Zootopia 2 made $2 billion. Or she said, okay, $1.9 billion. Could Zootopia 2 make more than Avengers Doomsday? I think it might be possible, Stuart. I don't see $2 billion for Doomsday, though. I just don't.
Yeah, I do see over $1 billion for sure, but I'm kind of with you. I don't think we're gonna get. I don't think we're gonna get anywhere near Endgame or Infinity War numbers.
But I also don't think it needs to.
No, definitely not.
I think people want it to, and I will be disappointed if it doesn't. But I don't think Avengers Doomsday needs to make that type of money for Marvel to look at it and come away like, oh yeah, we killed this shit.
Yeah, I think they just want a hit. Like I think they just want like a good, they want to make their money back and make a profit basically. So I think that as long as it gets into like, honestly, I think they'll be happy with just $800 million with this movie in particular.
Ooh, you think so? I don't know.
I think Marvel will be.
Oh, maybe. I mean, I can hear the narrative already though.
Fans are going to claim that it's a failure, or the certain griftier set of the internet is definitely going to claim it's a failure afterwards.
I just don't see an Avengers movie making anywhere under $1 billion. I just don't. I just can't fathom it, especially its impact like internationally too, on a worldwide kind of stage, and the names that you have attached to it. I just can't imagine it. If it comes under $1 billion, I would be worried. Like I would be concerned if I'm Marvel. But yeah, 800 million. Woof, yikes.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll see where this ends up at.
Yeah, if like as of now, and we'll wait till like I might change my mind once we see the actual trailer. As of now, I still think this is going to be the lowest grossing Avengers movie. Yeah,
That's
but
brutal.
that said, I don't think it's going to be a flop though. I think it'll still make a lot of money. I think it may even cross $1 billion, but I don't think it's going to hit Avengers 1 or Avengers 2.
Is that because the like where we're at in regards to Marvel Studios and what they've been putting out, or do you think it's more so to do with you just don't think it's going to be that good of a movie based off of the Russo brothers and stuff?
I think it's just because we haven't had the buildup that we've had in previous movies. So for example, I think the first Avengers movie did a lot because you had 5 movies before setting it up, and all of those movies were decently successful. Like some were definitely bigger hits than others, but they all made a profit and they all had an audience of their own. And this was kind of the first of its time. Second one, of course, because it was a sequel, and now audiences kind of knew what to expect. And then the third one was because they kept building it up, not just through the other Avengers movies, but also through like all the different solo superhero films that you would have. Pieces were being like put out there, so everyone wanted to see how it was all going to come together. And of course, Endgame, because it was the conclusion to that. I think with this one, though, you don't have that because the only buildup we've really had to it is Fantastic Four. And, if you're keeping up with all the hype stuff on the internet, the fact of knowing that Robert Downey Jr. is coming back. But again, I don't think that general audiences, I'm sure they know that Robert Downey Jr. is going to be in it. I'm sure they know like basic stuff. But I don't know if general audiences are as hyped because they didn't have the buildup that the other Avengers movies had.
Yeah, you might be right in that regards. I do think marketing for this movie will certainly be key this summer for sure. I don't know exactly when they're going to start launching their campaign. I would assume right after Brand New Day, maybe even in line with San Diego Comic-Con. A big reveal would really go a big way, whether that be the official trailer for the movie. I think once marketing for this movie begins, we'll get a better sense of the anticipation level for people. I know it's funny for me. Like I see people that have seen the Dune 3 trailer, they're immediately like, "Oh, Doomsday's got to move. Ain't no way Doomsday's gonna make it's got to move." And I have a feeling that when the Doomsday trailer drops, people are going to be like, Dune needs to move. I don't even know. It looks so good. Dune needs to move. Like, it's just going to be repetitive. Like, it's just super reactionary is the world that we live in, unfortunately. But I do think once the marketing campaign for Doomsday I think we'll start changing some people's minds and getting the anticipation and hype machine really, really going. So we'll see. Kiki Lucas says, I think Marvel is having a presence at Comic-Con and D23. I think they should. I mean, they had the big Dr. Doom reveal for Doomsday with Robert Downey Jr. at the previous one. It would only make sense for them to have another impactful one at San Diego Comic-Con this year, if possible. So we'll see. We do have CinemaCon that's coming up in April also. I think after that, the next big event is Comic-Con and maybe D23 in the fall. So I think they should take advantage of all of that.
Definitely.
Kiki and Luca, last question. Dana Walden's job is to repair the brand image of Star Wars, Indiana Jones, Pixar, and Marvel. Do you think she can do it? In time, I think she's building some people, putting in some new people around her to help her out. Also, I did read an article here that she is introducing 1 or 2 new positions on her side of things. So there might be, I don't know if that's like more red tape or more people that have got to go through other people or whatever the case may be. But we'll see. We'll see how well she handles things in this position. But I'm hoping she can do it for sure. I would hope that Bob Iger wouldn't put somebody in that position that he didn't think, especially considering the state that a lot of these big studios are in. He wouldn't put somebody in that position that didn't have the best intentions for it. So we'll see. I'm keeping my fingers crossed, though.
It's funny. So I was just looking up her IMDb, and she has 2 acting credits, both on Family Guy, where she voices herself.
Who, Dana?
Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting. That's interesting. But yeah, guys, we appreciate you guys certainly joining us for today's episode of A Plus Hero Report. We'll definitely be back tomorrow evening for you guys as we talk Project Hail Mary, and we may talk Ready or Not 2. We'll see how the rest of the day goes, if I can catch that movie tonight or not. But we'll definitely be back tomorrow for you guys, and then throughout the rest of the week, if we have any other big news that drops that we feel is video worthy, whether that be trailer or just big news, you can check us out on our YouTube channel. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so yet. Click the bell notification so when we drop brand new videos, you guys will certainly be notified. We got Daredevil Born Again that begins this week, season 2. I'm going to see when those episodes begin to air. I believe they drop on Tuesdays, if I'm not mistaken. So I may try and do some live reviews for you guys in the middle of the week. So look forward to us reviewing Daredevil Born Again season 2 for you guys. And then we've got Maul Shadow Lord that will be beginning April 6th that we're going to be reviewing for you guys here on the channel as well. So a lot of new content on a weekly basis headed your guys' way. And then, of course, joining us here every Sunday live at noon Central Time. Stuart, if people want to follow you on social media, where can they follow you, sir?
You guys can find me at Turbo201 over on Letterboxd, Instagram, and TikTok.
And if you want to follow us everywhere, you can follow us over here at TikTok at Hero Report. We drop new comic book hauls every week for you guys. I do grade movies over there, and mostly we post a ton of trailers, behind the scenes, featurettes, and stuff for you guys over there. So certainly check that out. And then everywhere else on social media at A Plus Opinions, very active, especially over on our Facebook page where we update daily for you guys. Any big news that drops, we update over there. Trailers that drop, behind the scenes stuff as well, posters, exclusive looks and images. Our Facebook page stays active all day, and then everywhere else at A Plus Opinions on social media. But that will do it for today's show, guys. We certainly will be back next weekend, but in the meantime, do us a big favor as always. Take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and keep it A plus. We'll talk to you guys later. Bye.